foremost, unsurprisingly, they're going to go down to Church and Arsenal room. Where else are you going to go? You're not going to roll the die, I think, right off of round number 1, unless
Nobody
you're trying to
does that on Clubhouse.
specifically set a certain pace, which, yeah, it's not going to happen.
I mean, we've seen it. I said nobody. We've seen it done once or twice. Flip side has, I believe, gone cash room first, if I recall. And it hasn't always worked out, let's just say. It's usually the best plan to only go downstairs on your first round of Clubhouse, just to get that free win nice and easy. On terms of operator selection, it seems a smoke strat is in line here for Patokalipsa, and nothing surprising on the defense whatsoever.
And I imagine we'll see they're going to do a bit of an inverse. I was going to say with that Mira, a lot of times we've seen teams run the double Mira strat there. I know EG made it very popular where you put 2 Miras on either side and you have kind of like a chasm between them.
I called it cute the first time I saw it, and then it viciously destroyed main stairs push, and then it was like, okay, that's beautiful.
You thought, okay, well that's kind of funny, and then you thought, oh damn, that works.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that works very well. So with that said, we will start off with basement, a pretty typical rotate hole in blue. You'll open up that one armory wall, or arsenal wall rather. They'll get all the hatches upstairs. Nothing outside of the ordinary here. Now, Pulse is likely going to play under kitchen. Very typical place for a Pulse to be, to try and stop a push through kitchen itself. It really depends if Shockwave is going to try to work as a roamer before he can get back downstairs, but both Pwn and Shockwave playing above the basement, doing some drone duty before they're able to scamper off.
So both hard destructors on the lineup here for Patokalipsa, and as a result, they're going to be able to get open all the drop downs eventually, and the construction tunnel. This is going to allow WeDudius to play with his glass on the tunnel push. A good operator to make that push, but you're going to have to sacrifice likely 1 or 2 of your smokes, which will hinder your site push come the last minute of the round. It's given that we do have a smoke playing hard here, WeDudius is going to be hard pressed, but no. In fact, the smoke will fall back to the last tier of the tunnel, not trying to fight it too fiercely.
He gives up his position inside of the elbow, which is pretty common. You don't want to try to face off against a glass in that position. I don't know if they're aware that it's WeDudius playing the glass, but of course, a very deadly shot. So not exactly somebody you really want to square off against much to begin with as they try to push in. But
Attackers have located a bomb.
the smoke is now moved back to elbow, and WeDudius gets taken down. Shepard gets the leadoff kill, and that's the glass and one of the most formidable members of Patokalipsa off the board with just over half the round to go.
It's a very important kill there for Room Factory, and a lot of crossfire eliminated now for Patokalipsa. They're not going to be able to use that tunnel as well as they might have, given they don't have the glass. I remember glass and construction tunnel used to be the go-to meta for most of the world, Europe and North America, and then he saw his damage nerf and it kind of slipped away. Ying also being added. There's still going to be smoke strategies incorporated here, though, as Shockwave gets a nice peek onto Darius. Even if the Buck opened the angle, it's a two-way street, and Shockwave will come out clearly the better driver in that situation.
Magic has seen the head of the Jaeger a number of times, and he's trying to wriggle around. Not much left, but a headshot nonetheless will take him out. And they have managed to answer back, but still lag behind in terms of body count by 1, and will now go back to being down by 2 as Pwn eliminates Nathan, and it's all up to Magic and Deep to make this work. The Thermite is going to push through Dirt Tunnel. He's a little bit belated, and on the other side there is a smoke, but Shockwave and Shepard, a quick 2-operator rally, and Room Factory is going to take round number 1.
An impressive defense from Rune Factory, and while normally you would say on Clubhouse Basement, it is of course going to be the defenders who win it, 9 times out of 10. That is still one of the most dominant defenses I have seen on the Clubhouse Basement as of late. Most attacks they put up a little bit more of a fight. In this situation, Patokalipsa just couldn't get their feet on the ground to start with. Now, they are of course going to defend the basement as well, as it is now their turn to defend it. If you're not familiar with Clubhouse, it is a map that heavily leans towards the basement hole. The other site, the alternative, your secondary, is going to be Bar and Stock, which is widely considered as much more difficult to defend.
Right, and you gotta give credit to the way that Room Factory played that.
Yep.
The drone game from Pato was not what it needed to be. The fact that Smoke was able to hold off a glass with very little actual intel being given to Weedudus of the Glass is a problem. Usually you will see that escape tunnel, dirt tunnel, whichever you want to call it, usually will have a drone escort so that you know where they're playing out of. Weedudus saw the smoke cross, but was essentially going completely blind. So
we also did see a lot of droning on the note of the drone game. We saw a lot of droning going upstairs that just unfortunately did not, well, they did capture the Ella roaming upstairs. They didn't capitalize on that capture. They didn't try to push her before she managed to retreat all the way down into the basement, which leads a lot to, honestly, it's very curious. Usually when a roamer is caught out on the top floor with a basement hold on Clubhouse, immediately that becomes the main priority of the rest of the attack, and they try to get rid of that operator, eliminate them outright, and get the man advantage. But I don't know, Patokalipsa just instead chose to ignore the Ella.
Yeah, they ignored both of them too. They ignored the pulse as well.
In this situation, we are going to be having Patokalipsa all downstairs, no roaming from them. They're not going to try and delay at all. As a result, that's going to allow for the attack to easily take control of the top floor and start opening up downstairs with this bug with still 2 minutes left in the round.
It's a good rate of push so far. They managed to cover a lot of ground early on, and Pato will have to hold, I guess, a little bit tighter now that they're going to put a lot of pressure on them from above.
So this is interesting. Instead of reinforcing the B wall or the armory wall close to the main stairs to avoid the attackers just rushing into back of armory, they chose to reinforce a panel upstairs outside of the kitchen in the hallway to deny Buck the long angle. If you could go up one, Marav, I'd appreciate that. And I don't know, that's an interesting reinforcement. It isn't going to hinder the Buck opening of the walls too terribly much, but usually you don't see that happen.
It's a smart strategy. We'll see if it ends up working out. I think Clubhouses in a way is where you can't get too cute with your strategies on Clubhouse. For the most part, there's obviously some changes you can make, but it's been fleshed out so wholly that, you know, I think they're trying to reset the Ella and they'll finally get it. But losing the C4, it sounds like in the process, but they will get Nathan back up. And so a good early push from Room Factory has now resulted in them languishing just a little bit as they have 45 seconds to go. Preliminary frag will go down, but there's nobody there on the other side. Nathan the Ella just beside the door frame, but doesn't take any damage from it. About a Candela as the smoke goes down, but Pone is on site. Shockwave gets the first kill, and they are storming the gates at the moment. Nathan will trade off, and down goes Shockwave, but a successful plant from Pone as Red Groove, that secondary of Hibana, eliminates Darius. Once again, back and forth. Magic eliminates Joystick with a C4 before the Ying of Pone eliminates Nathan, and there's only 2 defenders left. Magic takes some damage from inside of Blue and goes for a shot onto the Hibana. Deep peeks out a dirt tunnel and eliminates Pone. That'll put him on 2v2 as he'll push the Diffuser now. Whether the Twitch and Hibana can get there in time, Magic trying to do some work to prevent them. Deep draws out Shepard from above, and they'll go back to working on that Diffuser, trying to take care of the Twitch. They will trade off, and now Magic will be running against the clock. Red Groove knows that it's 7 seconds, and very easy for him to just walk right up and do a little bit of cleanup. And now Room Factory leads by 2-0. Nice to see a successful attack against a site that usually favors the defense.
Absolutely correct there. I mean, it should have been 1-1. We should have been seeing typical Clubhouse play out at this point. And the fact that Patokalipsa just lost that round, 100% in the long game is going to put them in a difficult spot to come back on Clubhouse. That could have been, just now, the deciding round for the entire map. And I know that seems like a bit of a stretch, given we're only 2 rounds in and we're coming into the 3rd. But honestly, that's just how Clubhouse plays out. You win your defenses in the basement, you probably lose your defenses in the middle floor. And that's, it goes all the way like that until both teams hit overtime, and then the team who has to defend first loses. That's typically how Clubhouse plays out. But since Room Factory got that attack win, they are now in a very strong position.
Absolutely. They bring out an Echo, likely going to see the Echo's drone. Yokai inside of B. They also brought a Smoke too. I do like when teams run that dual anchor of both Smoke and Echo because, number one, you can put Smoke inside of stock with the Yokai there, but a lot of teams recently have also, with both of them being run at the same time, uses the Yokai as a sort of 6th man roamer and have them inside a strip. And when there's a strip push coming, you just simply bring Yokai back and know to rotate earlier than if there was no little electronic device there. to assist you with.
So a pretty typical camera coming out there from Shockwave. That's going to get shot really fast before it can be utilized at all, in all likelihood. But it is going to detect that, in fact, Patokalipsa is setting themselves up very clearly and absolutely definitively for a stock push. I mean, every single one of these operators, except for the Thermite, is what you would want to have when you're attacking onto Cash Room and Stock. You're going to have the Buck upstairs opening a lot of holes in the floor, as well as the Fuse, who will be putting those charges to move any anchors out of B. But Valkyrie from the Cash stairs looking to try and contest that. It's going to be a difficult challenge. She does have the advantage of the railing. Very fat railing on those stairs provides a lot of cover.
I would imagine they brought the Thermite just for an extra peace of mind in case it took a little bit more for them to get inside of that CCTV room, and especially that wall that divides the garage from CCTV itself. Important to get a Thermite there. Now, Shockwave, who's had a very good game so far, eliminates the Ying. And that is going to make this push so much more problematic. You still have the smokes from both Fuse as well as Glaz, assuming that Fuse, of course, brought smokes with them, but now you don't have the blind ability that you would get from Magic, and the Ying off the board means 2 fewer smokes and an inability to blind them. And you can see Shockwave primed and ready inside of storage, ready to jump out at any point.
Fuse charge going to go down right above Shepard, who is all the way down in the basement. Fuse could possibly get one of the hockey pucks into the drop down and damage Shepard at the very least, but it's going to be a lot of RNG there. Darius takes out Ponif inside of the garage, and we duties a frag on a Shockwave. Shockwave aggressively vaulting out of that storage room closet. Now it is a 4-on-3 as there's still a whole minute. Darius peeking in through the front door will lose the fight to the Ella, evening things out slightly. But the attack still has control over B and is going to start laying down smokes and attempting the plant. There is an Echo Drone or a Yokai on red right now, and he probably will be able to deny the defuse plant outright, given enough time. Smokes are starting to dissipate, and the push actually hasn't come in yet from Patokalipsa, which is going to hinder the overall take. Now there's no coverage, and they're going to need to get the kills. You will get one onto Joystick. Good shot there from Nathan on the long angle, and it's just down to Shepard and Red in a 2 versus 3. As Thermite pushes in to plant. Nice and safe. Echo eats a couple bullets. Shepard's going to take out Nathan, denying the plant. And that's going to force We Duties to get a little more aggressive. On the jukebox, Echo goes down deep with an excellent headshot. And now it's all down to Shepard inside of kitchen hallway with only 20 seconds. He's going to be retaking towards the bar. Nobody watching the angle onto him right now. This is a good opportunity to peek. He's going to get one. Can he get another? Doesn't have very much ammo in that SMG-11. He's going to peek again and gets We Duties. The defenders win round 3, and Room Factory in a 3-0 lead, dominating on Clubhouse.
I am very interested to know what the thought process was there, why you wouldn't have them trade off the diffuser, start to plan in stock, and have the Glaz play that long angle. I mean, you have a reasonable suspicion that the smoke is inside of either kitchen or on the stairs, or potentially even over by the pool table if you haven't droned him out. And instead of doing that, they went frag hunting. They had time to be able to get that plan off in stock. They had used their smokes earlier on, but it was such a puzzling strategy, and that was Patokalipsa essentially throwing away a round that I think they should have had no problem winning.
If I may be so blunt, they played that round. Patokalipsa played that round as poorly as they possibly could have. They had everything going in their way. They had control over cache and server. They didn't really use that at all. They had man advantage as they started fragging down into lounge. They didn't really use that at all. They had smokes going down with no defenders in a position to retake the site, and they did not use that at all. The first attempted plant was a failed plant because of a kitchen run out. The simple solution there is to have one of your players get the diffuser, plant it down exactly where Thermite was, and then have the other remaining player cover the plant onto the kitchen hallway run out. Because I mean, obviously that's where smoke is. But instead, like you said, they pushed out of sight. It made no sense. Now we are going to be seeing Patokalipsa going onto its defense of the basement. We'll have Room Factory attacking it once again. This is Patokalipsa's last hope. If they lose here, there is no way they will come back on this map. I mean, we've seen miracles happen, but it would be extremely unlikely.
Yeah, and they have to go and attack the basement, where in Room Factory would be just, not even as a team, but just simply on site preference alone, should be a given that the basement will hold. And that's something that we need to look at here too.
I mean, Room Factory, one thing I really like about their attack here is that they're droning out everything. They're getting all of the angles. They're making sure nothing is well, the whole thing has a roamer inside of it, which is a good job for Room Factory. Not a lot of teams forego that. They drone as they entry, but on Clubhouse, you can safely clear out everything in less than a minute, and they've done just that. They now know they have full top 4 control, and that's better safe than sorry, despite the fact that Patokalipsa was not roaming whatsoever and hasn't yet. It's still the right call, and it's a well-oiled attack from Room Factory.
They've just pushed in over 1 minute. What could end up being our penultimate round, and one that might be more important than the round that comes after it, as Magic is going to try to give as much intel to his team. Now, one of the biggest issues that they ran into when they defended the site last time was not enough coverage to take care of the one remaining attacker up top, and that allowed Red Groove as the Hibana to just push in at the very final moment and get them before the diffuser could go off. Shockwave will expose his legs as he's waiting to try to get the pulse. Not sure if they took care of the drone, but the pulse at least knows where people are positioned. He'll light up that cabinet, but won't be able to connect with Magic at all. And now just tries to go for a shot through the floor. It looks like he hit either a neck or shoulder shot and eliminates about half of the Pulse's health. That was some great drone work to be able to do that.
Only 1 minute left though for Room Factory, and they have as of yet to they haven't really accomplished anything. Deep's gonna set up Magic for a run out. This is a ballsy play from Patokalipsa. It could work out for them, but it's gonna be a dangerous attempt all the same. It could be possibly a Claymore inside a Freezer when they go for that run. And they haven't attempted it yet. They're just gonna wait it out. Joystick eats an impact grenade before getting a frag onto Nathan. Not worth it for Patokalipsa, and Room Factory gonna be suffering here in the last 30 seconds.
Very curious to know what's going to happen with this Pulse. Still sitting inside of dirt at the moment, completely ineffective for his team. Now, even if you're able to get the run out, well, here he goes. He won't be able to get there in time, will be detected, and that'll have the team to come back to him. But Pato will get 2 kills from both Darius and Deep, and 3v3 is where it stands. They do have Diffuser down on the bottom of the stairs, as now Magic has, superiority from above. You can see Shockwave holds that Diffuser and will need to go for a plant inside of Church. Shepard kills Deep, and now it's only Magic. And wow, a nice 3-piece by Shepard to put us on match point. And Kix, you might have been right. This is quite a fast match so far. Room Factory making it look very easy.
I mean, I could not be right. I said 3-0 or 4-1. It has to be one of those.
Well, you said that you thought it was going to be very quick.
I thought it was going to be a quick match. I do think this is going to be a 3-0. I mean, what we're seeing here right now from Room Factory is absolute domination. Now, the thing to remember is that this is a map that might just favor Room Factory, but also worth remembering is that it is Patokalipsa's pick. They wanted to go to Clubhouse, and they are losing on Clubhouse on their own map. Room Factory seeming extremely dominant, which could spell doom, or it could just be a reflection of what we saw yesterday in BRK versus Lenchenet. I mean, that was about the same thing. Every map BRK picked, they lost. Every map Lenchenet picked, they lost. I mean, it was a back and forth until Lenchenet eventually won out.
It's going to be tough to head to Oregon because Clubhouse and Oregon obviously play out like different maps. Oregon, at least you've got 2 sites. Most teams are more comfortable. And as Marcy was trying to show us, Shepard at the moment is carrying his team. And you can see that it's a very even contest on Patokalipsa, which not the best. Their traditional top fragger only has 1 kill and is bottom fragging at the moment. And that is a cause for concern for the Polish team. So
more predictions, unfortunately, for Patokalipsa, and we do it specifically coming true. If he gets shut down, it becomes a struggle for his team. Now, Patokalipsa, they have yet to win around here on Clubhouse, and they are going to now have to address the single most difficult site on the map, which is the basement. They haven't been able to hold it at all, but we have seen Room Factory be very successful in their hold of the bottom floor. So we'll see if they can muscle through this time, or if it's going to continue to be a struggle for Patokalipsa. I honestly think this is going to be a 5-0. I don't think, even if Pato wins this round, it's likely that they won't be able to win 4 in a row, given that, this is Clubhouse. Usually rounds, they're supposed to be night and day when it comes to the sites you're on. And even if that's not applicable to Pato, it definitely has been for Room Factory.
The Xbox Master Race is a team that's been together for quite a while. You know, they had a bit of a surprise by knocking out Vitality. I think some people would say that as Vitality being, you know, the lowest seed in in Pro League. I believe Vitality finished 3rd in Challenger League last season.
Yeah.
It's not the most surprising result, but still I think expectations were pretty high for Vitality to go back to the Invitational. Of course, they were at the last one, finished 2nd on Xbox to elevate. But for Room Factory, this is a team with the exception of, I think, one member of the team. The core components have stuck together, and that is going to be difficult because they'll know their strats, they'll know how they play. You're playing against a very experienced and strong opponent, and that is an interesting sight for us there.
Just for the spectators, ladies and gentlemen, as you can tell from Rude Duty, is getting a kill onto Shockwave. I'm guessing it was a nice shot. Unfortunately, there was no way for us to be able to tell, but he is going to see himself down to half HP. Even if he gets the man advantage. He has eliminated Pulse, one of the greatest information gatherers in this situation, so that's an important frag. There's only a minute left, and Pato setting themselves up now for the final smoke strat, but oh no, out of nowhere. Red Groove with an nice C4 eliminates Darius, and no more soft destruction here on Patokalipsa.
You did hear that they managed to get the Valkyrie cam, which will deprive some information from the kitchen, but now Joystick just lights up that hatch and manages to get a kill, hitting away at the feet of the Ying. But Nathan will drop just inside of Blue, and he takes out Joystick. So a bit of a belated trade will still put them at 3v3. As you can see, the Mira of Red Groove trying to soften up Nathan inside of Blue. This will be tough. He's got the Mira facing against him, as well as all entryways held strongly. And Red Groove doing a good job. He'll get a headshot onto Nathan, and now it's just Weedudis and Deep in the final 30 seconds. They're inside of Arsenal, and they'll wait. Deep from above. You see the smoke playing inside of Elbow, and you're going to have an early smoke go down. Deep shoots away at a corpse, thinking that it would be Red Groove, but Red Groove still far off. Shepard managed to run in, gets taken down, but Pone trades him off, and now it's all up to Weedudis as there's 2 left. Pone gets a shot onto him in the dirt tunnel, and that is a very swift 5-0 for Room Factory, the champs from Challenger League last season over Patokalipsa.
Absolute domination. Not one of those rounds, if you missed any of them, not one of them was close. That was all Room Factory all the time throughout the whole map without any room for negotiation.
No, absolutely. On Patokalipsa's map, and you get 5-0'd, and I mean, I think there was only one round really where I thought it could have gone either way, and that was the one where Shepard got that 3K at the end. Well, as well, possibly the one upstairs when they threw that one away as well when it was a 2v1, and it's pretty distressing if you're a fan of that team, but a really solid first outing for Room Factory, and you can see all of the mayhem that ensued here in our highlights.
There were a lot of situations where I felt like Patokalipsa could have brought it back. That run out from the Pulse coming from Dirt Tunnel, honestly, I thought that was going to be the round winner because there was not one player from Room Factory watching for that run out, and all the same, they still managed to lose the round, even though they had full control of the top floor. Now, there weren't any Room Factory players still upstairs either. But instead of coming down the main stairs, getting a swift double kill, and maybe denying the plant inside of Army, he decided to try and drop from Moto. That's a glorified light flank, and it really kind of eliminates the whole purpose of running out from Dirt Tunnel, in my opinion.
I saw some very puzzling strategies from Pato that really not only didn't work, but even if they do work, still don't make the most sense when there's a more optimal strategy or route for you to take. So we'll see how they play on Oregon, as it looks like both teams are going to be loading into the matchup in just a moment. What is the key to look at for Oregon? The composition that we saw being run by Pato is one that, with the operators they picked, are going to be reasonably well suited to both basement and kids dorms of Oregon. So potentially they could fare better.
I mean, I think that Oregon's going to be a little bit better for Patokalipsa just for sake of it being a more flexible map. It seems like Patokalipsa was trying to play a lot of things loose on the wrong map, which is puzzling because, again, Clubhouse was Pato's map. They wanted to go there.
Right.
So if you're going to be playing loose like that, why are you going to do it on Clubhouse? Now, we're going to load into the map. It's map number 2, Oregon. Again, this is a best of 5, so our next map will be Border. And then Consulate, if we get to it, Cafe as the decider.
We might only end up needing 3 maps, depending on how this goes.
Yeah, I feel like if Room Factory gets a 2-round lead here, it's just going to cascade into complete momentum for Room Factory. And Patokalipsa will have a difficult time recovering from that. Now, Pato is going to get to defend first, so that's very good. It means they're going to have less pressure on their shoulders after coming off of that loss. So they will be able to just kind of wait it out. hopefully that'll work for them. Rune Factory, on the other hand, they're the ones with the pressure on their shoulders. They need to keep their momentum going. They win this round, and I think it might spell doom for Pato overall.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to tell because Magic did seem very loose, very excitable, and potentially even to a point where they, coming in, he said they were very proud of their success regardless of what was going to happen. So who knows? For them, they could just be they could be using this as glorified practice if they feel, okay, well, we're outclassed. Let's have some fun and set expectations low, and we'll sweat, but let's be realistic and say that we're probably going to lose. We have no idea. Now, for Pato, their defense is going to be a hard hold upstairs in attic, and they've taken care of both hatches in meeting hall. I find that suspect because usually one of the best parts of holding attic is that you're able to almost always reliably get a frag if they don't drone you out from when that Hibana or Thermite, depending on what operator you have left, is able to get those hatches.
That is the big problem. In my opinion, just overall, mentality-wise, you're defending upstairs. You're trying to hold meeting hall, and I get it. You've been playing that aggro game throughout the entire matchup so far. That was what you did on Clubhouse, and you want to stick to your identity. Fair. And honestly, it might be the right call. But things like this right here, having your Mira be downed, We Duties inside of the garage, so early on is, well, that's just a misplay. That's just a really bad call. Bonef going to be in a position to get that frag, and already a minute in, you've lost one of your 2-3 armors. That's not going to be good.
But why?
But why, though, is the question.
But why?
So the continuation of the roam inside of meeting hall is going to be seen here from Patokalipsa. They're not going to fall back even after losing that player, and a nice headshot there on to Nathan from above is going to result in Rune Factory having a 5-3 lead. So this looks like absolute domination for Rune Factory. I'm not seeing any competition for Pato.
You open up all of meeting hall. You barricade attic. You don't have anybody playing in attic. You have your Jaeger drop down to meeting hall and concede all of that ground and get pinched immediately. And all you've really accomplished at this point is opening everything up for the attackers, and you've got Darius now playing inside a garage, which not a terrible idea. You still have 2 anchors on site, a smoke and an echo.
But there are 2 Rune Factory players watching for this right now. Granted, one's on drones, but the other one's not. Ash is waiting for it, and he's gonna get the kill. Joystick onto Darius as a huge misplay comes out from Patokalipsa, and another frag onto the anchor. This round is over. Deep in a 1 versus 5. Can't even win a fight with the mirror win. This is unfortunate here for Patokalipsa, not the Pato I expected to see today.
That was a flawless round as well.
Yeah, not one loss for Rune Factory. It seemed like the frags were being handed to Rune Factory. We got a lot of credit to Rune Factory for some excellent play, really picking apart that defense, but it is Pato playing in positions that make very little sense.
Also, one thing to note there, even that final kill that the Ash got, why is Smoke peeking around that mirror hole? Yeah. He tried to go for a headshot onto the Ash on stairs, but that's why you jiggle peek around it. You don't expose your full body like the way he had, and very questionable decisions we saw last game. We try to remain as upbeat and as understanding as possible, but some things that happen just leave us scratching our heads.
The reason we're scratching our heads, though, is because Patokalipsa is not a bad team. We have seen them play amazingly well. Remember the B Genius game that we casted against Patokalipsa versus B Genius? They did really well in that match. They seemed on fire. Now B Genius they were playing pretty bad, but at the same time they did very well, and it was specifically We Duties who was getting a ton of frags, as you pointed out earlier.
I think he broke double digits in 2 different matchups.
Yeah, he had, I think, maybe altogether around 30 frags in that match, something like that. But he was standing up for his team. Clearly not today, not so far at least. But still, Patokalipsa was playing well. Overall, I feel like as a team they were playing well. And now they're seemingly doing something similar to what they did in the past. It's just not working out for them because they're not winning fights. And that is so aggro. They are inside of every position they could possibly think of to get a flank onto Rune Factory, and it's not working because Rune Factory is watching their flanks.
And I mean, another big thing too that you looked at with Patokalipsa was that We Duties was getting frags not on fragging operators, so to speak. Mostly playing support and anchor, which was great, but there was the underlying problem is that that should not be the operator who's top fragging on your team. That's not the player that should be top fragging. If you're not having your entry fraggers or your roamers doing almost as well, if not better than your support operators, that speaks to the potential weakness of that roam and entry game, and that is going to spell trouble against really well, I guess, prepared teams.
We talked about that yesterday, actually. We had a conversation. It was the thing to reference is, for example, Crazy, right? What we saw from Crazy so far back is he was playing Thatcher and he was fragging out.
Crazy from Vertical Gaming, for those that are not aware.
He was playing Thatcher and he was fragging out for his team in a previous matchup. And it's the sort of thing, it's like, okay, well, if you're going to put him on a support role, maybe just put him on a fragging role instead. Shockwave going to get a kill in the deep, refragged by Rui Duties, so Pato's not done yet, but they have lost one of their pushes from the main stairs, or sorry, the tower stairs rather, and that is the Zofia, which is going to hinder dealing with that mirror window inside of B.
Pwn will get droned out just inside of construction, which means that We Duties could potentially be able to pinch him. Now, it's going to be a standoff, but We Duties concedes those back stairs. I'm not sure if a Vigil is going to be aware. He'll now push from the backside of construction as Joysticks takes down the Buck, but Darius is there to trade off his teammate. But still, with that said, Darius has lost a lot of health, but you're without your Zosha and your Buck, or your Zofia and your Buck, and you hit just under a minute.
And another thing to note there is there was no one from Pato watching for the flank from the main hallway. We didn't have anyone in meeting like we saw last round with that Ashe, just waiting patiently. And because of that, you lost one player where you could have lost none. Now, Room Factory is going to be able to possibly recover this round as a result. There is now a flank watch finally, but this is the last 30 seconds, and the actual push needs to come out from the attack. Onef going to be flanking from above. He's looking to get into attic if possible, and it is going to be just possible. He's not going to see anyone inside a meeting hall as Darius gets a kill onto Ponef. That's the flank down. Now, Room Factory only has Red Groove and Shepherd. No gas canisters left as the last one gets detonated. The plant's going down from Nathan inside of B, and it's being covered by the Twitch inside of Box. Red Groove in the main hallway, not going to see anyone. Magic eliminates Shepherd as he tries to retake. Red Groove will get one headshot, but he's got to find two more. Nathan and Darius. Darius is lit up, so this is possible, as he sits on an exposed mirror window. C4 is going to miss from Red Groove, not going to find any targets. Darius will hit the shot, and Red Groove gets eliminated. Patokalipsa wins their very first round in round number 2 of Oregon in this entire match.
It took almost half an hour, or it took about 20 minutes to half an hour for Patokalipsa to finally be able to get a round under their belt, and it still looked kind of shaky. You touched on earlier that there was nobody doing flank watch. Well, there was. It was the Buck. And then he got off flank watch to push into meeting hall, and because he was flank watch, there was no flank watch, and he got flanked. So, unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, they did get the honestly, they did get Ponef. We have to give Patokalipsa credit for this. The Habana was pushing the site, but still managed to find Ponef on the flank coming from attic. So that's really important. If that hadn't happened, Ponef would have won that round for Room Factory. It would have been a completely different story. So the flank was nullified. It just could have been completely nullified, whereby they didn't lose the Buck at all. All the same, round number 1 for Pato. That could be the start of their comeback here, as we see a setup onto the basement as well from Patokalipsa. They were unsuccessful the first time here. We'll see if they can make it work this time. They're going to have a west side roam from Magic.
And a heavy push, or sorry, take a look at this. A heavy roam upstairs, and they've done a very similar meeting strat as well. They've left some hatches in meeting soft. It does look like Marciu. If we could take a look at meeting hall, I would greatly appreciate that. I do appreciate the architecture, but so they've opened up the meeting hatches now as well. It must have been the Smoke who just got them, because at least the west side hatch in meeting hall was still intact a couple moments ago. It also looks like they've opened up construction, so they have opened up basically everything in meeting and just below, and have a Mira and an Ella playing upstairs on that second floor.
You know, I really have to give Patokalipsa a lot of credit for one thing very specifically, and that is staying true to themselves. As We Duties gets a frag onto Shockwave, there's your number 1 fragger stepping up and establishing an early lead through the attic window, or maybe the main hallway window. Either way, an impressive kill by We Duties. But yes, Patokalipsa has not gone away from their identity, and I love that about them. Now, Red Groove will refrag eliminating Darius the Bandit, who appeared to have been roaming inside of Meeting Hall. So that is actually the core of the roam eliminated, and now Room Factory has cut off the west side roamers from Meeting Hall, which means they're going to have to rotate back into the main lobby. If Room Factory puts someone on the main lobby door, there is no potential for rotation for the remaining roamers. We Duties will bite the dust thanks to joysticks play inside of Meeting Hall, and now there are still 2 roamers and 1 single anchor on Patokalipsa.
I gotta wonder, he must have gotten that kill through Attic? We Duties last scene was playing inside of Attic, and the Ash was downstairs, so perplexing as to where they went. Now, the Ella of Nathan will expose themselves for just a little bit too longer than needed. There you go, you'd see the body of the Mira lying haphazardly from above. Nathan does Ella things, eliminates Joystick as that Scorpion tears through the body of Ash. Shepard covers the plant. Nathan goes down, Magic trades Pwn off, but Red Groove takes out Magic, and now it's gonna be up to Deep all alone as a good round by Pato now looks like it could fall to defeat, but a smoke clutching around out is not that outside of the ordinary, and Shepard is the first to go. He will see the Hibana, pulls out the shotgun, goes from afar. Red Groove with just 1 HP finishes him off, planting into the head of the Ying. You can see a nice full body shot, almost takes out the Hibana. She gets away by the skin of her teeth.
1 single point of HP, as our Polish production staff are reminding us. And we will be seeing a laundry room defense now come out from Room Factory, or actually Kids Dorms, excuse me. They've changed amid decision there. So top floor, a site we have yet to see from either team. This might be a little bit of a mix-up here for Patokalipsa, allowing them to re-strategize and maybe get a little bit of an edge here in this fight. It's unlikely, though. I mean, the one round that we talked about earlier, that one round that Patokalipsa won, it was very close, and it seemed like Room Factory were the dominant team regardless. This round, it did seem like Pato was possibly in line for a comeback, but I have to credit the Room Factory for shutting down those roamers. We saw 4 roamers from Patokalipsa.
Yes. 2
of them on the far west side, 2 of them over by Meeting Hall, and those west side roamers ultimately not helpful at all, because the Room Factory didn't push the west side of the building. They simply came in from tower, as they have been doing throughout the entire match.
In fact, all the pushes have come from tower.
Every single one.
Even when Pato attacked, they came from tower as well.
So the question is, from Patokalipsa, what is the strategy with putting roamers on west side if you know, or at least you can reference the fact that the pushes have been coming from tower, and maybe, just maybe, those are going to keep happening.
I'm going to imagine it was probably just in case. I mean, you want to still establish enough of a presence on both sides. I think that's probably important, but at some point you do need to rotate. A good example, let's go back to the last map we just played on Clubhouse. You typically don't want to put all your eggs in one basket in regards to stock or in regards to bar or strip, rather, and Shockwave manages to take out the Thermite, and that is a push through Master that will now be denied and rely heavily on the Hibana of Darius in order to open up the bedroom wall, because that would usually be Thermite's job. You could maybe have Hibana pressure from White Stairs or pressure from Big Window, or even attack from being repelled on Kid's Window. Now Deep is going to sustain some damage from Shockwave as well through that open hole in the floor. And Shockwave now just hit a good game last game. Shepard, obviously the star player for them, but continuing to have a good game this game as well, and a very consistent player, or so it would appear.
The worrisome thing is that run out we just saw from Shockwave. I think most people watching the stream right now have seen that or have done that in ranked many times. The fact that it was successful now for Room Factory is honestly very surprising. I don't want to say mind-boggling. Shepard's going to get a shotgun kill onto Magic, and now Patokalipsa in a 3-on-5. It is continuing to dwindle down here for Pato. As they clear from the west side, they will take out Shockwave. An impressive kill there from Deep, but flurry of kills as Red Groove gets 1 refrag onto Darius, but Pato have now evened it out in a 2-on-2. A very important couple seconds there for Patokalipsa. Ponef is going to continue the roam, though, downstairs in the main hall. Not getting too aggressive onto his sister. Deep, though, will look at the wrong angle and lose his life. We Duties now, the last player onto Patokalipsa. The standout performer that we need to see show up, put all pressure on his shoulders.
And he did look like he was coming alive. He's gotten a couple more frags so far than he had at this time in terms of Clubhouse. Could just be a comfort issue with the maps, but that's something that we will see as we progress through the matchup. Now you see a bit of trepidation and patience as he tries to head up towards White Stairs, and underneath Pwn, he'll be able to open up some of that floor and easily take out the ADS. Now, still good coverage by the defense, and even though he's going to prime a frag grenade, unlikely that he'll be able to land a target. Goes to fetch the defuser, but with 20 seconds, all Shepard needs to do is just lay down that smoke, and there we have it. It's going to be very difficult for him to push through. He isn't a 3-speed, so he's not just going to be able to burst in. Likely lying on either side of that door will be maybe a Gersmont mine. And Pwn runs up, inhales a lot of that toxic gas. We Duties manages to finish him off, and Pwn just simply needs to wait. The puck rushes in! What a clutch by We Duties! And a missed play by the Ella of Pwn as We Duties manages to win it.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is called frag chasing. There is a reason you do not do it in competitive Rainbow Six. An amazing clutch from We Duties, and definitely living up to his expectations for map number 2. It looks like we might have a fight here.
That round falls firmly on the shoulders of Pwn for pressing up way too aggressively. Didn't even ADS, just went for a hipfire shot, took about 30 to 40 damage from that toxic gas, and got taken down as he retreated, and that left the smoke in tough position. You also saw that the Toxic Babe landed on the door frame in order to try to stop him from pushing in, but
why is he going to stop?
He's not going to stop.
There's 3 seconds left. We Duties is not going to save the op. He's not that kind of player. He's going to go for the kill, and he did. He won, and it's very impressive.
So an awakening of the Polish team Patokalipsa on a round that probably should have gone firmly in favor of Room Factory. If Ella had peeled back a little bit and just waited for him to push, that round would have gone a completely different way.
I mean, let's be honest. Holding top floor Oregon in a 2vX is one of the easiest things to do if you still have control over top of White, you have control over Big Kid's dorm. No matter where the attack is going to come from, even if they have generator wall open, it's a struggle. It's definitely a struggle. But We Duties making it look easy, even despite, yes, of course, Room Factory basically handing it to him. It was very impressive. Now, top floor defense, this time from Patokalipsa, and we'll see if they can make this work for them. They have yet to win a defense. In fact, it's been, I think, entirely attack-sided right now for both teams.
No defense has won so far.
Yep.
So, exactly, there you have it. And that's very surprising on the basement of Oregon. Now, we're also seeing far fewer Glaz and Ying picks than we did on Clubhouse, which is puzzling for a map such as Oregon, especially not to see a Capitao as well, and proving that you don't need a ton of Twitch drone shots right there. A little bit of a controversial change, but one that I know that we spoke of last night. We welcomed Shepard able to take out that Valkyrie cam with the Twitch drone, but was in a site where you could have just done it with your gun.
I'm going to use the opportunity to say that I think that 5 zaps is plenty enough, especially at like high-level siege play.
For this level of play, absolutely.
You're probably only going to get 2 of them off anyway, and I think the consensus among most players is as well. If you can use both of your Twitch drones to only get the mirror windows, then it is a success. So if you only get 2 charges off with those Twitch drones, you have played a good round as long as you get the mirrors. And
it's worth it.
It's definitely worth it. So 5 zaps isn't going to change anything.
I think it's tough to just stress how much just even eliminating 1 mirror window completely opens up the defense to a push from the attackers at this level. But we digress. Pwn holding a nice long angle, and Deep and Darius managing to get 2 kills for Pato like that. 1 and 2. 2 members of Room Factory will fall on a Blackbeard. Why do you have the Blackbeard and Armory instead of playing on Big Window? That is a question that we will ask later on. The first frag for Room Factory comes on behalf of Shepard, and that F2 tears through Magic. They'll lose their Jaeger, but still good time management at the moment from the defenders as they have managed to kill 2/3 of the round without losing too much utility.
And they're just setting up to use that final bit of utility gas canisters. Being set up by Deep, and he's going to probably pace those to make it so there is no way that Room Factory can push into Generator, given the amount of time left. Deep gets a frag on a Shockwave, repelling on the B windows. And that's been a successful anchor from him so far. He has 2 gas canisters in 30 seconds. That's, again, Generator, a no-no for Rune Factory. And Red and Shepard will have to push through the main hallway, which is essentially a kill zone, no man's land, a death box, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be difficult for Rune Factory to push. Shepard will take out WeDuties, though, on an attempted flank, so that's a very important frag. Last 12 seconds here as Deep throws out his last gas canister. Push comes in from Twitch. Shepard in the hallway. Flashbangs do get Deep, so it's going to be down to Nathan and the Bandit. One will be eliminated by Nathan. The last one inside a Generator. Shepard gets a frag, but will not be able to find the other 2. And the defenders, Patokalipsa, win the very first defense of this map via time alone.
A really good hold. I think that more than anything, that was 2 early picks that completely changed the way that Rune Factory was able to push into that site. And then just like I said, good time management from them so that even when there was still the Hibana and the Twitch left of the attackers, you just didn't have enough time to do much with it. You couldn't get that plan off. There was still too much coverage from the defense. And even if you wanted to go frag chasing at that point, they were going to have you set up for crossfires in order to trade off if one of them went down. So a good hold from Pato and just a very weak and ineffective push from Rune Factory, and a little uncharacteristic of what we've seen from them so far.
I don't know if it's Rune Factory or just honestly Patokalipsa waking up, because it seems like it's just Patokalipsa waking up. They did, again, they played really well throughout the qualifiers. They had good matches. It's just suddenly they got 5-0'd on Clubhouse, and then started to look like they were going to lose on Oregon. Everything was looking bad, and now finally they're winning rounds. They're fighting back, and they just got the first 2 rounds in a row, as well as the very first defense on this map. So very impressive for them. We'll see if they can maintain it, though. That's the big question. Don't know if they'll be able to keep this momentum at all.
10 seconds remaining.
Hopefully, because then it will lead to
more maps.
Us seeing Consulate, and I would love to actually see how these teams combat Consulate. Border will be very interesting just because of the sheer amount of destructibility that both of these teams, I'm sure, will thrive on. Because on these defensive setups, one thing that has been very commonplace is they are no strangers to shooting out walls, creating their own sight lines, maybe to their own detriment, but regardless, still doing it more than I think we see from other teams of this caliber of play.
Well, I think, you know, the opening the other lines of sight can be really good. Here comes the run out from the Valkyrie, immediately shut down. You already used that trick, Shockwave. I'm pretty sure Pato has woken up to it, and I'm sure he'll find something different to do next time, but that time it just certainly did not work out for him. He had 3 guns staring at him. Here comes the reset from Magic. That's going to put him back onto 50 HP. Good play there. Patokalipsa will be in tip-top shape to start their push into the site. Rune Factory looking for the runouts. I was about to say they're not as aggressive on defense as Patokalipsa, but they are proving me wrong here in the midst of this round. 1 minute has transpired, and Jaeger's looking to peek from Meeting Hall out to the front door. He has to be careful about that. So you have Darius on the white van, or was on the white van, watching for that flank.
No ACOG on the Jaeger either to try to outduel the ACOG of the Hibana, and that'll just simply be a long-range affair. And at this level, typically, you're not going to miss too many of those shots. It would be difficult for Joystick, but it really depends. Goes back outside, but there's nobody over by Garage that he can possibly see. He'll work away at the Closet Master wall, and boom, it will go as the exothermic charge, a big success. Of course, if you take a look at the defense, there's nobody there to stop that from going off, and it sounds like a second exothermic charge will get the rest of the wall too, as Joystick looks to rotate. Now, that drone may have missed the Jaeger, but will turn around at the last second and see him. So Joystick's position inside of Attic will be alerted, or the rest of his team will be alerted to that, as the attackers would be able to take him down. Deep eliminates Red Groove. That's the mirror down inside a bathroom, and with 1 minute left, there's still 3 members of the defense to try to hold this together.
So C4 off the board for Rune Factory from below. They do still have a mirror window at the top of white that we're going to see Pawn F playing on, using his Ela gun. With the 50 bullets, he can single-handedly hold that generator push. But there is the possibility for Deep to nade him from underneath white, which could be all that is necessary. He does still have 2 nades. I think he's got to know the nade spot, but instead he's going to go up onto the stairs and kind of hand himself away to Pawn F, which is an interesting decision there. Last 20 seconds, and Rune Factory have gotten their first kill, and a successfully stalled out the push. That's for darn certain. With the last 14 seconds now, Duty's going to take out Ponef. That's the top of white stairs. It's down to Joy and Shepard in a 2-on-4. Darius takes out Joy on the long flank all the way in Attic. Shepard now, all he needs to wait, and he doesn't. Darius going to get him with a nice long angle, and unfortunately not enough time wasted there from Room Factory. Even if it came down to the last 4 seconds, what an amazing shot by that Habana.
And a very nice rally as well from the team. And overall, not just a rally here, but also that they've now strung 3 rounds in a row together on match point on Room Factory's map. And I think it's so interesting that yesterday, like you mentioned, they were doing better on each other's maps, and today that rings true as well. We just saw 5-0 on a map that Room Factory did not pick, but they won 5-0, and right now we see a 4-2 on a map that Pato didn't pick. So,
I mean, BRK picked Clubhouse, lost Clubhouse. Lanchinet picked Oregon, lost Oregon. BRK picked Chalet, lost Chalet. And it just went on like that until we got to Consulate, where finally Lanchinet won out the series by winning on their first map that they picked. So, yeah, we're seeing a little bit of that reflected here. It appears that way anyway. Room Factory could start a comeback here for overtime. It's entirely possible, but I think Patokalipsa have finally woken up, and I think we will actually have a match here. Possibly the early prediction of the 3-0 not going to come true.
Can we see the scoreboard for just a second there, Marcio, please? Take a look at Patokalipsa. Duty's top fragging as he needs to be for his team, but Deep and Darius also doing an excellent job at rounding them out, whereas a lot of depth with Room Factory, but just ultimately not enough to be able to take these rounds. And some of the rounds have been pretty darn close that have been won, but nonetheless, Pato is the team that is currently in the lead.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's thanks to the slightly heavier set scoreboard from Patokalipsa, and then also Room Factory have a couple players who have yet to really wake up. Now, they have taken control over Tower so far. That's been pretty quick off this round, and Shepard's going to take out Nathan inside of the Big Kids dorms. It is a basement defense here, so interesting decision from Pato to continue this deep west side roam. Darius gets disconnected. It's now going to be a 3-on-5, so it's likely we're going to see this go to 3-4 in terms of round count, unless the last remaining 3 defenders have something spectacular to show us. Given there's 2 whole minutes here for Room Factory to work with. And they also have control over Tower, Meeting Hall, and probably Attic as well by extension. It does look like Pato is going to have a difficult time here.
Pato just going to try to hang on then. Yeah, unfortunate that Darius, when I saw Darius disconnect, I had assumed that maybe it would be the one who had been eliminated, but regardless, you still have a Legion left. Interesting to see a Legion get employed on the site, not too outside of the norm. Now, I think a lot of teams like to run Legion to stack traps on those white stairs, or even get coverage on the back stairs. And I'm surprised with how patient Room Factory is being, given the fact that they have that lead of 2 right now. I think Duty's up top. Up top is going to be a significant issue for them if they're unable to take care of him. But he'll be able to peel off and get back to site relatively unscathed.
Yeah, and with the last minute of this round, Pato now setting up their primary anchor, and Room Factory setting up for the construction bush. This is one of the first rounds we've seen on Basement Hold that hasn't been decided upstairs. Now, 2 anchors, 1 on a mirror window. Actually, Patokalipsa is just going to be putting down a reinforcement in the hallway. That is very ballsy, and it's not going to work out for him as Shockwave sees that and capitalizes. Deep's also going to go down, and now it's all down to Magic in a 1-on-5. Not going to get the sledge, nor will he get the Blackbeard, and Ponef is going to eliminate Magic to win the round outright. 3-4, as we don't appear to have Darius reconnected just yet. We might have to do a bit of a rehost here. He made it! Darius definitely going to be taking home MVP for that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And now it is going to be 3-4. We will continue on, and there's still potential for Patokalipsa to dodge overtime here by winning this attack onto the laundry room.
Now, given that there's only been 1 defensive win so far, this could be Pato's ability to put it away, but those kind of patterns don't always stick around. Now, going downstairs, we will see a Legion now be answered, been called by Pato and was answered by Room Factory. A Castle likely means it will be a meeting-heavy hold. Then, of course, a Smoke Mira. It's almost suicide to run this specific site without a Mira and a smoke.
Speaking of, what was that last round? We saw the Mira setting up her window in the hallway in the last couple seconds of that round. Like, why though? But why though? I mean, even if you're not going to put a Mira window on it, maybe it was just a reinforcement to try and give cover. Why didn't you do that in the prep phase? I get that you're roaming deep on west side, but why though?
Likely could have been a situation where maybe the Mira was expecting to barricade again up top and didn't.
Possibly,
but I mean, we've seen a lot of teams keep a pocket Mira till the very end, which is always a very risky strategy because if you get picked early, your Mira is gone from play. But that wasn't even a I mean, I'm sure the Mira would have been put down, but after the reinforcement and then with the Mira, and you're not going to get pushed.
And it's every single round the attack is coming from tower, from both teams onto the basement. Every single round. We haven't seen a dedicated main lobby attack yet. So, okay, I get the west roam, that's cool. You can have your Mira do that if you really want to. You can even put a Mira window up there, maybe even both of them. But why not the reinforcements from anyone? Mira or otherwise, on the back hall, just to give you that piece of... I mean, I don't know, it's questionable. But we're going to move on. It's going to be 1 minute almost gone in this round, and Patokalipsa will be clearing out the west side. This might be our first main lobby attack here on Oregon from Patokalipsa. Might not be the best moment for them to start mixing things up, but they are doing a very proficient clear of these roamers, even if there are none. And that is very impressive to see every time. They will have control over west side now, but Shockwave inside of Attic actually has 2 reinforcements, so he's just going to be trying to dominate Meeting Hall, and I think rightfully so. Trying to get too aggressive onto the Meeting Hall push is always very dangerous.
They could even get in a position now where as long as they can get somebody watching one of the hatches, they could just forego Meeting Hall. And we've seen teams do that before where they'll just say, you know what, cool, you want to barricade away? That's fine, but a Buck will be able to open up that wall. Surprised, actually, that that wasn't reinforced whatsoever, because now you're essentially providing a way in for them and making their life a little bit easier. Now, of course, a Buck wouldn't have too much of an issue with the castle barricade because you just throw a grenade under it.
Right, but I mean, all the same, the castle barricade is a questionable decision as well, because what it means is that Pato doesn't need to worry about the flanks nearly as much, especially with those reinforcements up in Attic. If Buck hadn't opened that wall, there would have been no potential for a flank, and as it looks like Pato's actually going to be planning the defuser right now, there's nobody on the other team from Room Factory in a position to stop this. Magic might be able to stick it through the gas canister, and yes, he will! He's going to lose his life, but get the defuse plant down in a 4-on-4, turning into a 4-on-3. It looks like Pato's going to lock this out.
And you can see that not only was that smoke expended, but also a nitro cell. Darius drops down and Gooba stomps Red Groove, and now takes out Shepard too, as Pone manages to answer back, and he is the last member left. The Legion will have to deal with an Ashe and a Hibana, 2-3 speeds with very vicious guns, and Nathan comes from behind and takes Pone down as he had his back turned. And Pato, after a lackluster performance on Clubhouse, will answer back and prevent themselves from being swept. They win 5-3, and We Duties waking up as the rest of the team able to help out.
So it looks like we have a match, ladies and gentlemen. This is not going to be an outright win for Room Factory, which is always nice to see. Also, look at Darius with 9 kills. He did actually outfrag We Duties, which is very impressive by him. Let's take a look at the highlights in just a second while we run through that map. On that final attack round, it looked like there was just nobody from Room Factory to deny the plant. I'm guessing they weren't expecting the plant to come out so fervently. It just instantly, they planted the diffuser as soon as they knew the mirror window was open and there was no one playing inside of Closet. And the gas canisters, the C4s, they came out way too late.
Yeah, I mean, it's because I'm assuming they thought that it would be a push through rear tower, which is a smart move to make. That was the very questionable call from the Blackbeard to do that. Of course, as I called it, the Goomba Stomp from Darius. He basically just comes down and splat, takes out the defender, and that was it. So a good answer back from Pato to prove that they have a spot in here. I mean, as fun as 3-0s are, you don't really want to see that in the finals because I think it kind of overshadows the fact that these are two very good teams.
Yeah, Pato's a great team.
Pato's a good team.
I was worried when they lost 5-0 on Clubhouse. Now I'm not so worried. We're going to have a good match.
So Border is up next, but we're going to take a very quick break. We're going to change out casters, so Milos and Emzo will be coming in. That's it for Kix and myself. So thank you so much for watching the first 2 rounds. Take care of yourselves. We'll be back after a short break for the conclusion of the first semifinal for the Rainbow Six Invitational on the EU side of things.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the EU qualifiers, the playoffs for the Invitational 2018. I'm Rastan Milos, the Medic Finge, and with me, of course, is Devin Emzo de Becker. I'd like to thank how do you say de Becker?
That's all right.
It's the Dutch pronunciation. It
Yeah.
has gotten to my brain. They hate me for this, by the way. Anywho's, so as Kix was saying, we do have a fairly competitive game so far. However, map 1 between Patokalipsa and Room Factory went 5-0 very convincingly for Room Factory.
That was a very slow start for Pato. I mean, they managed to bring it back in the end, and they showed some fairly strong play on Oregon, but that was definitely not how you want to warm up, is losing 5-0. Luckily, this being a best of 5, they have a little bit more chance to pull it back than they would maybe, say, in a best of 3, because that would have been a much more strenuous match, I'd say, on Oregon, because if they lost it, that's it. Like, you know, that's 2-0 for them. Whereas in this case, even if they lost it, they'd still have one more chance. So nonetheless, you know, a bit more what we expected from Pato on Oregon. Room Factory, however, are showing some very strong play on both maps, and I expect going to this next map, it should be interesting to see, like, the dynamic. This goes back to Pato's pick, I believe. So, I mean, Pato didn't do well on their map, so that doesn't say much.
Here's the thing. In my mind, map 1 on Clubhouse was basically Room Factory doing everything right, and then when Pato would do a tiny mistake, maybe peek out an angle that shouldn't be, like checking through the kitchen hatch, then you get shot, and there you go. Now you're at a disadvantage by 1 or 2 players. On map 2 in Oregon, that completely flipped, because the rounds that Room Factory lost, like especially when we saw Patokalipsa defending up on the bedroom floor, they just, well, actually it was a reverse. So Room Factory were defending. They had the smoke that was sitting right in the bedroom. He popped the final smoke, but 5 seconds before that, the Ella just ran out and got shot, and then you just see the Buck running in and getting the final kill on the smoke. It was just 2 seconds before the entire round went the way of Room Factory.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was terrible what the smoke did, but yeah, the Ella pushing, I think we all agree that was a bit of a mistake there, a little bit. And that, I think, was a good symbol of the overconfidence they may have gained from getting that first 5-0, and that may have been kind of their Achilles heel in Oregon. I don't expect that they're going to continue feeling a little overconfident. They're probably going to check that and be like, all right, let's go back to what we were doing in Clubhouse. And I expect that this will be a little bit of a stronger map for Room Factory in that case. But it depends on the strats they have ready for Border. And speaking of ready for Border,
we are definitely ready for that. So let's hit in-game for map number 3. It is 1-1 Patokalipsa versus Room Factory. Let's get into map 3 Border. In just a second. And now, there we go. Thank you very much, Stars. So, we are in Border. This is one of the maps that we've wanted to see more of in the actual games.
Speaking of seeing more of, look where we're playing. Bathroom Tellers.
Yes.
Interesting choice to start out with. As a, Intero would say, unorthodox.
Immediately throwing out the, as you're saying, unorthodox strategy.
Yeah.
You wouldn't really see this, especially picked first. But kind of makes sense. You really do want to throw off your opponents early on.
As long as you can actually play the site. That's the big thing. Is it's fun to do and a great strategy to throw them off, but you really need to have this as a strat. However, as I've said before, doing this in the very first round is the best time to really throw them off, because then it's the complete wild card where they have no idea really how you're going to play this map. And doing it on this site is definitely an interesting choice to do so. I would have preferred customs probably, because that's still a little more conventional than this site for sure.
So obviously here you see the setup. The most important thing on basically any lower floor defense on Border is to hold the top floor.
Yeah, it has very destructible floors on this map.
Whereas even if you're holding from the opposite side, from here you have to take control of the whole admin office and the fountain behind that, so you might be seeing some mirror walls that are set up even there behind.
The great thing is you see that hole destroyed in the floor next to that reinforced wall where Pwn is. They can shoot down right through that and take care of people jumping in. It works really nice. So I definitely think it's an interesting shot. Although he is a little exposed standing there with the window, but I do think it's a good idea to be able to hold that. They've opened up too much. However, they're doing a nice split defense here. You got some people downstairs, some people upstairs. That wall being open to the outside, though, is the big weakness with this site. As you see where Darius is, he's able to kind of open that up a little bit, get in there. However, they weren't necessarily prepared for this. They didn't bring a thermite, so he's not going to be able to easily open the wall. He's going to have to go with using 2 Hibana charges if he wants that to be the thing. Otherwise, they could just go in and take the room above and jump down from there. But jumping down is always riskier than coming in from the outside where you can hold better angles.
Honestly, that is the problem. Because they never planned to have the thermite, they have to rely on the Habana, as you're saying, if they want to attack from below. But now the Ashe cannot utilize the breaching rounds because in case they need to push from the top side, she has to have the double breaching rounds, or else it is going to be even more of a cluster, basically, going all the way down.
It'll be interesting to see if the utility of IQ factors in, because you've got a bomb site close to the outside. That means more ability to bomb what's in there. But they're already fighting up against the opposite's fountain defense here. Those mirror windows coming into play. Shots going down from both teams, but neither of them hitting each other. That was like a stormtrooper fight there.
Grenade is going to get thrown in by Deep. Won't really be able to do anything well with it. It's just the ADS that pops it immediately out of the air. Nathan still trying to find some sort of opening and just sprays through the opposite side here, as well as Deep with a bit of a crossfire, but so far so good. It seems like they're unable to open it, but as I say that, Patokalipsa with Magic taking down Hone, and that is the first person to fall.
That's an important kill with the Bandit down now. The Habana can open up either of those mirror windows and make good use of it, but that's assuming he didn't use too many on the downstairs. We haven't necessarily seen where those Habana charges have been used, if they've been used, but that is a big factor in trying to counter these fountain plays.
Here we go, pushing right on in, and Deep will save Nathan in the kill here. Mira, though, is ready, and Nathan will fall. Both of these breaching rounds are now down. No more Ashe to play with, but Deep is all the way down. And he's jumping in, but he doesn't spot Red Groove, and he nails the second kill. Should not have happened with that little HP left.
Yeah, Deep going for a nice flank that they're maybe not expecting down here, although there is all three attackers down here now, and just one person left upstairs. They could potentially take out Red Groove as he's got such low health and then have the upstairs clear. Leaving him alive up there could cost them as Shockwave takes down Deep.
And the smoke shotgun is ready for them as well. A lot of damage done here, and Darius will take down one. Shockwave does going to get the impact on Darius's Magic refrags, but there's so little time, and both players are 1 HP basically. Diffuser's going to get set down in the bathrooms as Red Groove trying to find him. He spots where it's being set and gets the headshot. Magic will fall, and Red Groove with the 3K will win out the round.
I gotta give Red Groove credit for living through probably more than he should have that first fight that he just barely survived through, getting a second kill, and then ultimately being the last man left alive. You remember about 30 seconds ago when I said leaving Red Groove alive up there was a bad idea? I think now we see clearly why. You can't just leave someone alive no matter how low health, no matter which floor you're trying to attack, but they were low on time, so I understand they were just trying to get that pressure in, get that attack going, get to the defuse plant, which they did manage to do, but at that point without enough people and with Red Groove still left alive, ultimately cost them, and a fairly good defense of a very hard to defend bomb site. So we're seeing our first, probably in a long time, successful bathroom tellers.
Yeah,
so that's a good start. I don't know if they'll try and use it again. They can't the next time, obviously. Now they can go to the conventional bomb sites, which
I think they basically just saw if there's a time for us to use it, it is right now.
Absolutely, because if you fail it on the first round, not as big a deal.
Yeah, and plus, Patokalipsa was not expecting it at all. They had no operators that could actually deal with this, and then you add on top that Red Groove was able to survive so well up top. They wasted so much time for Patokalipsa trying to push in. It worked out perfectly.
Yeah, I know if I was Patokalipsa, I'd be a little bit upset over how that went down on a bomb site. They technically should add, but then again, that's the thing. If they don't have strats for it, there's no guarantee that having a good attack will work if you don't really have the practice in on that bomb site. Shepard with a nice drone hanging out up in the CCTV to be able to identify if anyone's going to be playing in there, although they've rotated in kind of late. You do have typical Ella play in there from Magic.
But this is the interesting part, is that there is no mirror wall through here, and they're going to reinforce the hallway.
Yeah, they're going with definitely a little bit of a different strategy here. They've got a lot of play in the offices, more so than in the typical A-site lockers, where a lot of play goes. I feel like offices has become more and more important, and that's something we've seen kind of fluctuate in and out on these on this map.
One thing I'd like to see if Martsu can take us to the Mira. Not sure if she's already used both of her windows or where the second one has been set up. Okay, there we go.
There we go.
So they're going to completely let go of Fountain and just open it up. And that is an interesting strategy that you usually don't see.
Yeah.
Just turtling up in the back.
Because the usefulness of that wall there in fighting people coming from the office's windows especially, which we did see some engagement in that process last time. Shockwave bringing the first ying of this map. We'll
and
see
with
if that
6-12.
Yeah, should be interesting if he's able to use it. Shockwave's had some good plays today, though, so I expect some interesting things from that. Now, you don't see this wall open up a whole lot there. Opening up from the little break room out into the big square lobby. Interesting choice, could backfire him, especially the rest of the wall as well. Magic kind of exposing himself quite a bit, but he's fighting on the different side, so he can even drop down if he needs to escape. I like the idea.
No, DEFUSER is still on the other side here. They're gonna have to run through CCTV to get there. Magic's is still spraying in, still delaying.
Missed Candela.
Not the best thing to do.
You saw him make that drop as well, like we were talking about. Get right out of there and waste that Candela. I don't think Shockwave even knew that wall was open. Beautifully played by Magic.
This whole setup for Room Factor from Patokalipsa is extremely impressive. As I say, that joystick will get kill number 1. That's Magic's just gonna get picked off. Survived way too long, in my opinion.
Still almost a minute, yeah. Did delay them from taking CCTV at least, which was good. Would have been nice to have some backup in there, so maybe you could have got a kill when they were chasing him, but nonetheless, might have got Candela down anyways. Thermite getting the wall open, though. This is a good sign. Still only 50 seconds left, and WeDuties is able to play in the Mira of the small office and have that C4 ready. Although it looked like they might not have reinforced that wall. It was hard to see earlier. So, nope, it looks like it is reinforced. That's good. Otherwise, that can be very risky to play, but they've got to make this push, and 2 Candelas have already been used. That only leaves 1 now for Shockwave to use to breach.
And it's interesting as well how WeDuties has set up with his ITS, opening up even the floorboard below, just in case you see an Ash running in, which is the case here. Now, Bill goes in for the spray, takes down 1 and Deep, gets the information immediately. It was a very fast execution, but not tapered enough for the defense to really be pushed back. And Deep takes down 1. WeDuties goes in for the quick spray, but Shepard with the Claymore from the back will protect his team versus Darius. They'll even drop down 1, and here we go. Shepard's fall to his death, leaving only 1 alive. That's Red Groove on the Thermite. Not really much that he can do, as the time will tick down to 0. And that'll be Patokalipsa that will win out the defense yet again.
Yeah, that was definitely an interesting defensive round. I feel like they got stalled a lot by Magic. It was good that they caught him as soon as they did once he got away, though, and that was definitely an important pickup because it allowed them to start focusing on pressuring the site more because they had control of that CCTV and knew that he wasn't going to rotate back to it late. But then once they had control of it, it was already pretty late into the round, got the wall open, but then they just didn't have a good way to get the Mira out to clear it. They needed that buck underneath, for example, to do some damage, potentially clear that up because you forget that the floor inside that small office, outside of the hatch, is totally destructible. Not to mention, if you have a Habana left or something, you could actually open that hatch on them, and then they can't stand very well in front of that Mira anymore. So there are ways to take them out, but fighting from underneath can be a little risky, which is why you see the Bucks playing very careful down there. But with Magic out of play, it would have been a little more doable, and I think had they read into that and had someone to rotate around, do some damage from below, even if it wasn't a Buck, just shooting the floor where you know that Mira's playing, could have worked out in their favor. You know, hindsight's 20/20, but I would like to see that in the future. Some good score lines for the Pato players, though. Most 3-2-1s all across the board here, except for the donuts of Nathan and Pone. Can't imagine those will stick around for long, though.
So this is the site that we're expecting early on in the game. Now,
this is a secondary bomb site generally.
So,
no, this is customs he rotated around here. I was thinking it was ventilation. So yeah, this is the what I would say is the 3rd bomb site, Teller's being the 4th really in terms of rank.
Yes, yes.
So they are playing fully unconventional today in terms of, I mean, you saw the success of Patokalipsa defending the top floor, which is, that's the one you defend because it works so well. If they could pull off customs here as well, I really feel like this is Room Factory's map.
Yeah, and we talked about how the defense happens when it comes to defending the bathrooms, where you have to hold the top floor. This is the exact same setup here. You just have to take control of CCTV, and the instant you relinquish it, you basically have lost about 70% of the entire map. What you need to do is just delay these attacks as much as possible, and that is why you see that Mira window just planning all the way through the hallway, just in case, spotting anybody trying to move through.
Absolutely, and you've only got 2 players in there. The rest of them kind of trying to surround, and then 1 on roam. So they're definitely setting up there. There's that Mira on the hallway you were talking about. Magic going to be the one trying to probably use a shock drone to get around to try and catch Red Groove off guard and get that Mira window open. If he does, that's a big win for attacking that. They also have a Habana as well. No Thatcher to be able to take out a bandit, but there isn't a bandit. So actually the Habana could open that window up fairly easily.
Maybe lining up here for some grenades at a certain point. Flashbang's going to get thrown in by the Ash just to disable the ADS. Set up for his teams. Unfortunately, Duty's going to get shot down by Shockwave. Really close angle here. And just using the destroyed top side of the wall. This is very good setup from the defense, just to allow them a bit of extra space.
Yeah, it was a good initial kill, not only onto the Buck, but WeDuties. And he being one of their good players, that is a big loss this early in the round. only 40 seconds, or I'm sorry, minute 40 seconds. Magic, though, picking up 2. That is a fantastic start for the attack to trade that back.
And that is the smoke that was just shot down. Shepherds, though, as say that, Red Groove yet again will come in and chime, and Deep will fall. So no more IQ as well. Flashdown is going to get thrown in as well from Nathan, but there's still an ADS ready for them. The Jaeger in the back. Joystick will get 1, trying to get the second, but Darius is ready for him on the Habana, and that turns it into a 2 versus 2. Now, this is one of the worst 2v2s that you could ever have as an attacker because you have to face Mira and Ella.
Yeah.
100% rate of fire here.
A lot of utility and just, yeah, huge rate of fire guns.
And when you're forcing these fights up close and close quarters, this is definitely the advantage for Room Factory on the defense. So Patokalipsa have to take this inch by inch. There's
That's
no
what they're
smoke.
doing.
There's no smoke. There's 30 seconds remaining. There is a bit of time. There's a bit of leeway for you to maneuver around the site.
Now, no drones left in terms of shock drones here. So it's unfortunate that they won't be able to do any kind of droning with those. It's possible that Darius could have a drone left, but otherwise they're having to face check this here.
All right,
Not
10
a great
seconds.
position to be in.
10 seconds left on the clock. They're going in for the plant, and Magic just lining it up just in case they push, and they go both at the same time, immediately spraying in his Pwn, and a Red Groove will get a kill each, and a Room Factory win out the defense.
So now that they've won the 2 unconventional bomb sites, if they could do half as well as teams normally do on the other 2, defense is an easy lockup here for Room Factory. However, both teams have been winning defense so far. So again, as we've talked about before, first team to break attack will generally be the ones to win it. However, I'd say Room Factory gave more than enough opportunity for Patokalipsa to do just that with the weaker bomb sites. Now that they haven't been able to do that, I feel not so confident that Patokalipsa is going to be the one to crack attack. However, they have to go to their off bomb site now, the secondary one, Ventilation. Not the worst bomb site to defend. It's nowhere near as hard as Bathroom Tellers, that's for sure. And it's still a good bomb site. But like you said before, it is again about defending upstairs. So pretty much half of the bomb sites, well, I'd say almost all of them, except for, well, I'd lump it in like this. Offices, lockers, and CCTV are critical to all 4 bomb sites.
Yeah,
so
basically.
if you know how to control those, you can kind of make it work in other sites. And I feel like that's what Room Factory kind of understand, is they know how to try and control those other rooms, and successfully doing so means they can win kind of wherever.
Now, seeing the pulse being brought out by Patokalipsa is the interesting thing. Going for the castle combo as well means that you get to lock down most of the entrances and maybe force the Habana to take down these reinforced castle walls.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just have the pulse sitting in and around the site to direct his teammates. So all the effort now should be on Magic and Darius.
Yeah, and the nice thing is too, having the castle barricades forces them to waste a lot of utility early if they're going to attack it and slows them down, or it forces them to not have much utility left from attacking the top floor and have trouble getting through those barricades. We Duties hoping to catch someone coming out under those trucks, but no one wanting to play on that side just yet. They're all wanting to play on the opposite side to take that first from the looks of it. Shockwave and Joystick. Shockwave will be able to open that floor if he's able to get in there. It looks like he's going to go Archives instead.
Yeah, it's just running right into right into Archive. There's 2 players waiting for him. That is Darius, and of course Magic. That is on the Valkyrie. They're sitting up top, and Duties from below nails the headshot on Shockwave, and no more buck. That is a huge kill so early on in the game, where if you were able to buck this entire floorboard, you would completely demolish. Oh my God, are you kidding me? The one tap from Joystick. Magic falls just for that, and the foul will get taken down. It's not the worst losses, not as bad as losing the buck for the attackers, but at least it turns it into a 4v4.
Even if the castle had died killing the buck, that's a really good trade because the castle's done his job for the most part, and he's just playing anchor. We Duties actually right next to him, almost seeing that thermite. So far, though, they've slowed down just a little bit to try and get some more access, some more angles coming. There's the Habana having to be used on the castle barricade, like I was talking about, but a nice kill on a Joystick by Darius is going to start to even things up a little bit more. As I say that.
Comes in, refrags. Darius will get shot down, 3v3, but a lot of HP taken out from the Twitch on Room Factory. Still, second charge is going to get used. Patokalipsa really playing it well with just recognizing which angles they can shoot through these walls and have them set up before that. So they can predict very accurately where Room Factory is trying to come through.
Yeah, Room Factory is a little bit low on players, but having successfully attacked the top floor and still having 3 players left alive is not a bad situation to be in when attacking this bomb site. And 54 seconds left with the bathroom wall open is not bad.
A reminder, though, that we still have a smoke on the defense that's alive.
That's true.
So staying on the site while still... This is the thing. if you know where your opponents are not, then you know where they are.
Yeah, and they have a pulse to help with that. So,
Just standing behind the beepers here. Duty's waiting around and burning time now. 30 seconds, less than 30 seconds on the clock. Smoke is going to start to pop his canisters in just a second. See the thermite moving right in. Nathan can't spot him though. Shepard's from above nails the shot through the floorboard. Deep still waiting around. And here we go. He's gonna pop it in, but a bit too... No, he could have already done that. He could have already set that diffuser down, but 3 seconds remaining. Pone goes in and smashes Deep to the ground. Not too sure why it took Smoke that long to throw the canister, but it was, now in hindsight I think about it, the thermite pushing back and not continuing the plant was the better choice because he still had the Habana to help him out.
Yeah, and that's what it came down to, was timing. Both the timing from the smoke and the timing from the Habana, because that smoke was just about to push on that thermite, and the thermite was going to have to go for another plant again soon or try and fight that desperately in a situation where he's not sure which angle he's going to come from. So the Habana kind of saved the day there, coming in, swinging around at the last second with I'd say a very nice gun to get that kill. So it was going to be a hard fight. However, I do think they played that pretty smart, spreading out. They had the Wee Duties over on that flank, which I thought was a good idea. Fortunately, wasn't able to win enough gunfights to really make it count. And the way they had Pulse getting some intel as well. But overall, you saw the defender or the attackers also spread out then and say, okay, we need to help Thermite, but we don't want to all push through this hole and just come on in to the meat grinder. That's what saved them. You had Shepherds going upstairs, getting that flank. Habana coming around at the very last second, just timed it just right. So both teams really kind of adjusting to each other in the last second is what made that count. But now it's 2 points up for Rune Factory, who were on the upper edge here by having that 5-0 to start with. Looking like they could take this to their map number 2 potentially if Patokalipsa can't figure it out. And so far, Rune Factory have defended every site successfully. Now they're on the best bomb site. There's a very strong chance we'll see this go to map point this round.
Yeah, and this is going to be one mirror wall in the fountain area. There's going to be a second one as well, all the way in the back in the small office here. And they even opened up some mirror holes from below. So you were talking about this before, where you have the buck that can just buck the hatch from below.
Yeah.
You see the mirror has so little space to move that,
and not to mention you can hit the window as well. Like, so yeah, you could kill the mirror, but you can also hit that window, open that up, because you saw that last time that was being defended, how important that window is, why it's such a good strategy, and why, personally, I think it's better than putting it on the outside wall. Because it's just the effectiveness of being able to strafe and fire, like anytime you see someone, it's so hard to take that without the utility to open up that wall in some way, or with some kind of grenade you can cook in there, something like that. So we'll see how they play it out. They do have the buck on Wee Duty. He could be coming around, but so far it looks like he's helping in the offices instead. Maybe not the best use of a buck. Generally on this attack, almost always better to use the buck below if you can take control of it. There's fountains. Typical fountains being defended by a bandit. That's usually what you see, because he's able to guard his own windows from the Sabana charges coming in, because he can just bandit trick them whenever he needs to. Although Magic, not sure if he decided to waste that. Instead of getting the window, would have been much better to get the window than the battery.
but at least that's the ADS that was taken down in the back. So
there was the ADS,
yes.
not the battery, sorry.
So it's not too bad of a trade, because this allows now Wee Duties to throw in a grenade all the way to the back. Might be able to get the hit. Nope, Shockwave just taking a bit of damage at the end. And at least they forced him back. There's a second ADS to set up on the site.
Joystick with a kill onto Twitch.
Nicely done for an urgent kill. Patokalipsa, they're reeling under the pressure at this point. Habana's going to open up, but this is a perfect spot from Shockwave below. This is one of the maps where Shockwave and Red Groove really function perfectly as a duo and have been for basically a year.
Yeah, it's the duos definitely make a big difference in strategy plays, because you can only do so much as a 5-man team. You really need good pairings.
And Nathan, they've at least taken control of Fountain, but with the amount of time that has been burnt so far, with that loss and Darius being on half HP, you have to be very careful.
They've all rotated downstairs. This is a retake strategy at this point, because they've got control of the bomb sites to go for the plant. However, they're not sure where'd everyone go? Why is this party empty? Because everyone's coming back to it late.
And Shockwave's just ready to shoot the first person that comes in, because he can hear the plant from below because of that open side. Nobody's coming in. There's 20 seconds left. You see one drop. Nathan, that's kill for him. Shepard will get taken out, and no more smoke. Cannot use that, but Red Groove will throw the C4 onto Darius. The bomb diffuser has already been planted, but Joystick will get the second. Nathan will refrag on a Pone. Here, 3v2 takes down one. Duty still rotating from behind. Red Groove has set up, and he's trying to go for the defusal. His teammate so far back. And he's going to hear it. There we go. He's just going to set up to go for it.
There we go.
Sprays down. Mira's going to get taken down. The second is ready for him, and Shockwave, the bandit, has waited so long to rotate back up. We'll get the kill. And that is Patokalipsa falling, leaving this map on 4-1. Roof Factory one more round away from putting an extra point on the board.
They are teetering on the edge here. After losing a 5-0, losing again a 5-1 does not spell a likely chance of seeing Patokalipsa in Montreal at this point. Room Factory playing very strong, now successfully defending 3 different bomb sites. And they have not even touched ventilation that we saw from Patokalipsa. It's just...
Honestly, this turns into a mind game. After, when you crack the 3-1 or 3-0, this is the mind game.
Yeah.
Can you put this, we need to work together, we need to stop making these mistakes, and we need to figure out within the next minute what our mistakes really are? Or will you just continue failing and try to reset next map?
Yeah, I mean, you do want to kind of sometimes take the loss if you can help you regroup. But interestingly enough, Room Factory actually changing things up to try and crack the first defense. They were going to go with a Buck on Shockwave, but instead going with a Ying and then bringing the Dokkaebi. Interesting change-ups here, and we are also seeing our first mute of this map as well from Magic. So both teams really want to do something a little bit different. Now, they did successfully win the defense here last time, so they don't necessarily need to change something up. But now that the Buck's out of play, it could be they could struggle even more so trying to get that small office if they don't have another plan for it. That being said, though, there is another option, which is the Ash going in, which is something we used to see as well before Buck became more prevalent. So Joystick could run downstairs, open that up, and then just peace out and go back upstairs for the attack. Totally doable, but we'll see if Magic's mute jammers actually factor in at all and stopping to get some intel to decide which bomb site to attack, because they still could also go for offices to get the B site on archives.
Now, the interesting part would be how they're going to use Pwn in their attacks, because obviously you have the Dokkaebi on the team. What you're going to try to do is time your attack perfectly, so the logic bomb will aid you to push. Now, this makes a lot of sense here because you're staying so close to the wall, and with most walls that are just barely open, that you can hear the phones that are ringing in the back, and that'll give you the call that basically that you need on positioning and force your opponent, especially that mirror on the side, to pull back maybe for a second.
It helps for that half wall as well if someone's trying to hide behind that and you didn't have the Buck to clear underneath. There's the Ash downstairs to be able to do what I was talking about. There's the first step. That's going to stop any kind of bandit tricking so that Thermite can do his thing once he gets over there. And he's opening the door for his friend. Now 2 panels going to go down. They're going to open this wall wide up. No one on the half wall. We duties inside the small office, and it looks like lockers might be covered there by Deep. Nathan trying to watch the flank on archives as well.
Now Magic rotating back. We saw him already set up those mute jammers around 30 seconds ago, and just going to fall back from Fountain. See Shockwave. They still haven't activated that Thermite charge in the back, and I'm not too sure about.
Could be mute jammed potentially because there is the mute play.
Yes.
Doesn't matter that much.
There is one. There you go. There's one right below, so you cannot use that Thermite. So it gives you the C4, and it's gonna get taken out. Unfortunately, Duties won't be able to do the maximum amount of damage, and the smoke is gonna go all the way to the side, not really damaging or doing really any work at this point.
And Magic getting taken out as well means another C4 off the board besides the mirror one, and then Nathan taking down Joystick, finally getting him out of play. Still a good situation for the attackers at the moment, and Candela's coming out.
Just flash here, We Duties, still more flashing right onto him. Shockwave low on HP. And Nathan runs right in, Shockwave spraying in with Shepherds in the back, and Deep waiting for him. Duty still trying to spray through with his Vector. They've set up really good crossfire, but they've neglected one player that just snuck on in, and he's gonna push right into him. Shockwave solo on HP, will be able to get one, but it's We Duties all on his own. Takes down the second one. That's no more Twitch. Still 33 seconds, but no, Pwn runs in, and with the SMG-12s, just gets the headshot onto We Duties.
That is Room Factory taking their second map, now bringing this to 2-1. That is a dire place for Pato to be in. They've still got opportunity. If they take the next map, they can take the one after that. It's not over yet, but you've got advantage to the team that's not just winning, but winning very strong on the maps that they're taking. That does not bode well there. Room Factory seeming to adapt when they were struggling a little bit. You even heard the phone call going off towards the end, so we definitely got some mileage out of that. So far, liking what Room Factory's bringing. Patokalipsa, though, I feel like they had some good plays, but overall, losing the 2 worst bomb sites on your attack, and then the attack finally being cracked there at the end, was the great finish to just, that's it, Room Factory's map.
And honestly, that first round, even with the amount of problems that they had, was definitely possible. It just came down to Shockwave staying in on the Mira up
and
top.
missing that C4, unfortunately.
But let's look at the highlights of map number 3 that went the way of Room Factory. Shockwave even utilizing the RGO nade there.
Impact nade kill.
And this was great from Red Groove, just getting that 3rd and final kill throughout the round. Honestly, it was extremely impressive how he was able to push himself back, and as well, we saw We Duties doing fairly well with these.
That was a great shot by him.
Shots.
That helped a lot on that round. Joystick, though, with that 1 tap was great. We saw some great plays from Joystick. He is one of my MVPs for this map. There's some nice kill there as well. We Duties trying at the end there, almost making this work, just couldn't land enough shots because of hard to control of it. Ooh, and that Mira play, though, he just almost, again, We Duties trying his best. Unfortunately, it's not good enough when it comes down to border.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know you see a 2-1 behind here, but this is not best of 3, this is best of 5, may I remind you, so there is still potentially at least 1 round.
If not 2.
1 more map, at least. So next up is Consulate, but a reminder that map 5, if we get to it, would be Cafe. Honestly, I was having a talk a bit in the break with Merchant, our observer, and we both thought, okay, we've been watching how Room Factory play out on border with Shockwave, and it was 100%. This is going to go for them. But let us head into map number 4. It'll be Consulate.
Should be good. So far, nothing too crazy coming up, but they are going to start downstairs. They're changing up their operators at the last second as well, trying to figure who they want to play. Blackbeard, not as useful on the garage attack, but still definitely some utility, especially playing behind the cars, for example. Glaz, we saw a little more effective on this from the Latin American teams, just maining Glaz constantly. Blackbeard, however, still useful. They don't have a Thermite, though, and that says to me that they probably thought they were going to be fighting upstairs, either in the main floor or the top floor. So it might have been a little bit of a miscall by Room Factory here. However, only the first round, as we talked about with the Bathroom Tellers. Plenty of time to make up for 1 round. But we'll see. They've got some good fragging power. that can more than make up for lack of utility here. I do think that being forced to attack from yellow stairs and cafeteria, though, is a little bit weaker, and we don't see people pushing cafeteria very strongly, which always surprises me because Archives is rarely held by any defenders. Getting around to that hallway and getting a line of sight into the cafeteria isn't really that hard, but we just see it really underutilized by teams, and you see the A site right there just exposed on that side, and if they're busy watching the garage door, it works great, but if you can't open that garage door, it becomes more problematic. However, the Hibana can open the garage door a little bit, give line of sight for that Blackbeard, but that's such a tight angle.
Yeah, honestly, I think the best way is to go for cafeteria, as you're explaining.
Yeah. There's a hatch above it as well, too.
Yes, you have the hatch that you can open up from the main hall. So either way, you'll probably take control of at least all the way into the main hall.
Yeah.
So that'll give you an extra angle to look down from. But also, as you're saying, as soon as you detect this sort of defense, with your setup, if you're a Room Factory, you just decide to go from where you see Red Groove and Shepherd from. I'm really hoping that they're not going to go all the way up top.
They're going to go for an admin push because you want to clear the top first, especially when you know you have someone like Darius potentially roaming around. You've got a mute that could be using the mutes to try and help roam as well. And look, you see the Valkyrie up there also. They do need to clear this top floor, but they could burn too much time doing it and then end up in a situation that ends up with them losing too many people trying to take this. So I think it's smart of the defense, though, to have a lot of defense up here to slow this down. We'll see if Nathan's cameras can really factor into that, though, so they can anticipate the attacks not get cornered. They do have the drop hatch to drop back into piano, but that could very easily drop into attacker if you're not paying attention.
Yeah, and Nathan, very good setup with the Valcam in the tree. Gives him quite a bit of info on the back, at least spots Shepherd's on the Twitch rotating away. There we go, Shockwave coming in, will spot out the Val that is set up. And they realize, you know what, there's nobody here. Val's dropped because she's compromised, and Nathan's just going to fall back nearer to the site.
There we go. See, there's the potential drop to death if Pona's watching it. So they just got to force the drop down.
They already got the drop on the Val that was forced away from the site, but Darius is going to get taken down on the back white stairs. So now this gives a lot of room for Room Factory basically to move.
Especially if they've been able to kill the Nathan on the Valkyrie, that would have made it even more of a difference. Now they got the hatch open, as we were talking about above cafeteria. They've got some angles down, some way to put some pressure. Joystick coming around the spiral stairs to try and get towards that. Now, as I said, Archive's usually unoccupied. In this case, though, Magic going to play it as mute to try and stop it because he knows they have to push it from that side.
And they're probably going to be opening the second hatch in bathroom. That gives them even more line of sight into the defense to the side of cafeteria.
Yeah. Also, the floors are pretty destructible from Piano. Plenty of angles from there. They don't have a buck, but they do have Ash. As I say that, Ash gets C4'd, so that's out of play.
Great shot from We Duties, and Nathan even going through the shield of the Blackbeard, taking out Shockwave. And now one more for We Duties. I am not sure what's happening here to Room Factory as they all fall to the ground. IQ opponent here low on HP. Somehow, though, gets a final shot on a Magic. The final bullet in the magazine. Shepard from above, trying to find some sort of opening in the main hallway in your bathroom. We just set on set. He's so low on HP.
He could easily, if he gets taken out first, this could start falling apart for the defenders.
They need to push in. There's 16 seconds on the clock. He's not spotted just yet. He can peek out at any second here. Just needs a bit of info. Shepard will get killed on a Nathan. Comes in here, the Mira, but will get sprayed by Pone. 2 versus 1. Deep is on his own, and we'll get the last two. Deep will clutch the round up in a 2v1. And that is Patokalipsa taking round number 1 here on the defense on Consulate. Not really, you know, too surprising.
Yeah.
Playing defense, especially with the setup that we saw from Room Factory.
Yep.
It's a pretty darn good start.
I mean, that could have really gone either way at the end there, too, because the whiff from We Duties cost him his life, and then it was a 2v1 situation, but just some great play there by Deep, getting one kill and then the other without running out of ammo, or a situation where he could have easily been wiped out. It was just good heads-up play from him that saved that round in a clutch. Now we go up top to Console Meeting Room here to the start for Room Factory, and we're going to see our first Doc. Pulse, however, not an unusual choice here to be able to play from below if needed. Also to be able to get some intel on where they're approaching from. Let's say he wants to play over in the admin area. He can kind of get an idea if they're approaching from there before they start breaking windows. So definitely some good ways to play it. We may see the smoke sitting in projector as well, something we see often to try and stop pushes up from the Visa stairs, as well as that balcony just outside the windows.
This is such an old level setup.
Yeah.
From Room Factory. This is pretty much like a year-old setup.
Yeah.
And it's being revived here. The odd thing is that you don't have a Mira mixed in. Obviously going for the dock. Now usually you'd have the Mira to either watch yellow stairs from the bathroom or obviously have one in basically your connecting room between your A site and B site in the console chamber.
Yeah. We see them going for a good admin push here. That's typically the way you want to approach this, as well as sometimes attacking from the patio onto projector to put some additional pressure on, or even the A connector window. They also have a Jackal, interestingly enough, something that they could be able to use to catch out some of those roamers or get some positioning inside to kind of go for some wall or window bangs. However, looks like both teams trying to figure out how the other one's going to be approaching this before they get too deep in. At least Darius getting a good drone. Nice clear of admin so they can push him, but they've got to take it quick before anyone else can move in there and make that droning useless.
Well, Magic has gone for the Jackal. Unfortunately, I don't really think that this is going to be too much of a help for them. The only thing
especially
is
where he's sitting.
Yeah. The thing, though, if you're able to spot somehow where one of your enemy roamers was moving around and catch them maybe as you're going for a plant, you realize that, oh, there's going to be one guy rotating from yellow stairs, then you can basically set up your end game peaks to protect that bomb diffuser. Unfortunately, you need to get all the way there, and I'm not really sold on Jackal doing too much work.
I think what they need to be doing with him is if they saw the pulse during the initial prep phase, then they know they need to clear the floor below, and that's where you drone in for Jackal, so the drone can check ahead of him time so he's not face checking, but then chances are he's going to find Pulse's footprints at some point, scan him, and then you've got him pegged so you can pitch him out. However, they're going for a top floor attack here, already smoking out the long desk, trying to fight down the hallway with those ACOGs.
Just Magic droning in. He spots 1 and 2 on the sites, and then he's going to fall back and probably take control of that skylight to hold down yellow stairs. But Joystick's still playing from below. On the Jaeger, gets the shot on Deep. Now, Magic's going to rotate to the outside balcony and not just hold on to the skylight, as Redger is still sitting in the consulate chambers.
Things are slowing down a little bit as there's only a minute left and they're trying to get good positioning as they're at the disadvantage here, losing one of their attackers. WeDuties does get revenge though on the joystick for that earlier kill. That's going to even things up a little bit. We're only 45 seconds left.
Yeah, Darius eyeballing through the hallway, trying to find that entry frag. And, well, one thing is that you'll probably see Room Factory. Okay, at least going to open up the side.
Interesting use, yeah.
Yeah, but what you'll usually see here is both players trying to attack at the same time to get that quick kill onto Darius. And he needs to make sure to not open himself up too much. To say that though, Red Group will get one, and Shepard will take Darius out. Patokalipsa 2 down, and at least Magic's able to get one of his own. There's still one inside of the waiting room, and Shepard will take out Magic. Red Group still alive, gets the final shot, headshot onto WeDuties on the dock. They didn't even need to use the dock syringes at this point.
No, it was just, they were taking good advantage of the ACOG, and that's what I was saying earlier, that long desk makes for great ACOG battles. And when you bring the dock like that, you see the utility because he can peek, survive a few shots, pull back, even go into bathroom, syringe himself up, and come back out for another fight and just really slow down that push because they don't have another good alternative way other than, you know, that little stairway entrance into the projector room like that. I guess there's the patio as well, but
you can only like possibly exchange the dock for a rook, and that'll just give a always bonus on everybody trying to survive the grenades, but otherwise
he was playing close enough to sight too, though. He had sight lines to be able to heal his teammate on the other side of that like entranceway he was at, as well as to be able to potentially hit people that are in the console meeting room itself. So he definitely had good utility from his position. I think it was well played. Room Factory definitely had a great defense that round because the attack just could not section anyone off to kill for the most part, other than that initial kill on joystick because he was roaming.
Oh, Nathan's going to set up here his Valcams. And this defense mostly going to be set up around admin. What I like is having the Jaeger and the Val, or at least the Jaeger on his own, sitting in admin, and then you would have the Val that's just playing below.
Yeah, interesting. They're basically using the same lineup that we just saw as well. Like you said, that the old school setup, a little bit different. They're opening up some of that wall behind the desk instead of completely closing it off. Nathan going to get some of those late cameras out, and they've opened up that yellow wall, or the wall on the yellow stairs a lot, which can work against you as well, but also we've seen some great kills from that. If you can continue to control those yellow stairs, or even use it against them, trying to control it. But that really depends on positioning and timing to make that work.
And you can definitely push back your opponents on the defense all the way to the back in the small cubby. And from there, if you control Skylight or yellow stairs, then you can definitely take them out. But that takes a lot of work to push your opponents all the way
This is
back.
a good use of Blackbeard. We used to see a lot when people realized always putting him on the B window wasn't the best idea, although we're not really seeing him put on the B window much. Something we saw a lot from Glaz yesterday. However, he is in a good position to help his team at least clear that room, and he can rotate around to the B window after doing so, as you don't need to push him into there because it's too easy to get flanked.
Duty's getting more info here as he did get some damage done on a joystick. The Ash for Room Factory, and just going to fall back. Doesn't need to get aggressive, and just can stay from below and gather information and relay it back to his teammates.
He can watch he's like, he attacked Visa, now he can watch Visa from below, get the potential opportunity to see 4 if he needs to, as they haven't actually entered Visa yet. And you see him getting set up potentially to do that here. At least he has some idea where they're at, and this is generally a safe place for Pulse to play. That probably didn't do a whole lot of good, but he's got some extra sound, I guess?
Not too sure about that, but if you had that set up in the past, like early at the beginning of the round, maybe it would have been a lot better choice. But hey, you don't always think about these kinds of things.
He's rotating up, actually. He realizes they're not inside yet. Gonna peek the windows, but actually they see him before he sees them. And smartly pulls off without taking any damage. Back to Archives I go.
Thankfully, he has Nathan to help him out, so they're all playing from all the way down. Really, the vertical play has been going pretty well for Patokalipsa. A minute 04 left on the clock, and they just now, Room Factory, have gone near the site to start opening up the reinforced walls.
He's not looking the correct direction there, but he does manage to land more shots than they land on him. That's what counts here. He knows which position they're going to be playing now.
Just needs to make sure here deep to not peek, needs to survive on the smoke. He's already been forced to use 2. The second canister a bit too far off, but at least WeDuties will be able to get the kill on a joystick.
Scanning.
So. Magic set up in the bathroom. It's a good idea to open up that lower floorboard, just because you have that clear line of sight into hallway.
Yep. So far, everyone's stalled out with 20 seconds left here. This is going to turn into chaos really quick.
And they're relying pretty much on Shockwave here. Surviving, and the smoke is going to get popped. It's going to be extremely difficult to go for that diffuser plant. It's going to be the Habana on the side. Deep going in for a quick push. Gets one and sacrifices himself. Owen will get the second. 2 seconds remaining. Magic in the back. Shockwave going in for the diffuser plant. And they're ready for him. They go. Shepard will get the last 2. Magic and Nathan will get shot down.
It was, I think, smart of Magic to kind of hide out and get ready for that push. Unfortunately, the timing and aiming just wasn't there, because had he maybe done that right, you know, when they were looking a different direction, like maybe a second later or half a second later, had he popped out, he might have caught them off guard because they weren't necessarily looking anymore, because they checked, you know, and they were probably going to look a different direction. But nonetheless, timing is difficult when you're down to the clock ticking away like that. So nice push there by Room Factory. It didn't look like they were going to make it, but they just kind of steamrolled over him slowly but surely, and the smoke kind of missing that second smoke cost him dearly, because then he wasn't able to pop one in between to slow down that push. And then did get the kill on the diffuser at least, but they were able to get that last kill on the Magic, and they just had sheer man advantage at that point against Magic and Shepard. Killed them all individually. Shepard looking good though with 6 frags. We saw some great plays from him, especially on Oregon as well. He's been a great player so far, but nonetheless, the whole team has really been contributing for Moon Factory to the amazing scores we've been seeing from them so far.
All right, so one part of this defense is, we talked on Border, for example. If you're defending below, you always need to have control of the top side, and this is very similar here on Consulate. That's why you see even reinforcements being used all the way up in the Consulate chambers. This allows you to force out as much time as possible from the attackers, in this case Patokalipsa, before coming down and contesting the site.
Yeah, so just to be clear, if you guys didn't see it, that's the lobby, the middle floor of the sandwich here being, so this is the bomb site we have yet to see in this particular fight here. Now this is, looking up into that projector room, that is a much more important site. He did see that mirror, or the Valkyrie camera get thrown out. Valkyrie gonna switch over to double check, but he's gonna ping it for his teammates because he doesn't want to get baited into getting shot while he's trying to get it. So they are gonna have at least some intel on them, and vice versa. That window being open actually is kind of really slowing Magic down.
Because he's not sure. Is there gonna be a run out? I'm not. Oh.
Not now.
All right, so this is actually very problematic because for the attacking side of Patokalipsa, because Magic now is giving so much time for his opponents to set up, because in that top floor where you see the Val, she's opening up the floorboards. That gives your defense, Room Factory, perfect line of sight into where that main hallway plant would usually be.
Also, you're seeing Red was opening up, for example, some more of the piano windows, kind of down at the bottom, where they might not be paying attention because Magic's paying so much attention to the upstairs, could easily get caught off guard by piano windows. So, nonetheless, they are doing a great job stalling this attack out, that's for sure. Barely gotten inside, but they did take control of admin because it seems like they just kind of gave it up a little bit because they were so focused on projector and downstairs. However, getting from admin forward, is, as we've seen, has been a struggle for both of these teams once it comes to those fights.
Shockwave, you've been spawning below. Now, one of the strategies is that you tap that castle shield around 14-15 times, and then it's only the first tap that the attackers go for. Suddenly, it just falls apart, and you are able to fully push against them and take them out. There we go. Pone is going to get traded out. Darius will get shot down.
Oh, nice kill by Magic, though, to follow that up. And the defenders falling apart here. They did lose Habana, but not a big deal at this point in the round with a minute left.
Recovered the diffuser.
Joystick all the way. The other side of the hallway gets the shot on We Duties. At least ties it up to 3-3. But now all control is Red Groove on near the site, and then 2 players up top. And Jackal has not been able to do too much against them.
Yeah, attackers getting stalled out here is actually giving the man count advantage, taking the man count advantage away basically, because as you see, Deep does get the kill but loses a lot of health. Joystick and Red both going to fight this out as long as they possibly can for 30 seconds here, and they've got to push forward if they want to make this work, but they do have control of projector at least.
Unfortunately, they're almost getting the kill. They go for their pickup on the Thermite, but Deep is ready for him and snacks the headshot on Joystick, taking him out right after Magic's kill on the Jackal. Now, if this push here, right here where the IQ is, was shut down, it would have been all over for the attack.
Yeah, it definitely kind of came down to a few important kills there, but most importantly, we're seeing it a 2-2 which is a good start for this to really continue on, potentially for either team, or I guess in this case, if it's Room Factory, it would be C'est la vie for Pato. However, you know, I could see Pato bringing it back. They had a good defense downstairs, but that was also a case where they didn't have Thermite. Now you see Pone realizing, okay, now they're going back downstairs, bring the Thermite. This could go much better for Room Factory than we saw that first round where they were obviously caught off guard. In this case, not so much.
I would like to correct myself. It is 12 hits to take down the castle barricade there. So keep that in mind. It is the 13th, I suppose, that breaks it down.
Yeah, don't try and hit it 15 times and then hope it won't go down yet. Nonetheless, though, it is something we see both attackers and defenders taking advantage of, something they can do to set it up. You see people, sometimes castles set it for a run out. Sometimes if they want to do it faster too, they'll just impact nade it to open it up. But yeah, a lot of flexibility with those castles, or even just glass through it is fun. Now we are going to, as I said, go back down to the basement, which Pato defended successfully the first time, but that was against a totally different attacker lineup that wasn't really properly prepared for it. Nathan opening up that window to throw out the camera out is also good for making them have to watch that window, just like we saw with the projector window. Kind of throws them off a little bit. Now they're going to be expecting a camera to have been thrown out from there, though, and maybe looking for it. They did bring the IQ this time, so they're not going to be able to spot it easily. They'll have to kind of manually look for that glowing blue light. Nathan, though, trying some cheeky peeks. Luckily for him, not getting shot at least. And here's this important attack onto the projector that they need to take. Try and take control of that second floor with it. Shockwave taking down Darius, though. Nice start. That's one big roamer off the board.
Yeah, that is the Ella that has just been taken down in the waiting room on the top floor. And Nathan still set below as Room Factory starting off the round fairly nicely. Now, the sledge is going all the way up. He has the Habana to help out. Now, you want the sledge to go up there because obviously the end goal is to get to piano room because you want to smash the floorboard of piano.
They kind of have to because in this case, the Twitch drone got mute jammed before it could hit the mute jammers, which actually was a nice play by Magic and actually helped stop that Thermite from opening because otherwise that door would already be open and they'd already be much further in this round. As I say, getting much further in this round. Shepard getting one, Shockwave getting in there. I see those two in tandem a lot getting kills. Same with Darius and Deep as well, the two Ds and the two S's.
The mute jammer is going to get taken down below. Really want to lose out those switch drones. On the attack, Poen should be moving up bit by bit here to open up the main garage door. Magic is holding up close. Smoke's going to get popped, and that is a fairly early smoke. Even the second one has been used, and there's a minute 20 left on the clock.
Looking really bad.
Oh, Deep almost going down. Shockwave takes one. Oh my god, no. There we go. Magic turns around and finally finishes off Shockwave, almost being able to use the floorboard here in piano. But Red Groove is always in support of his teammate, and will take down Magic. Room Factory very much in the lead.
Yeah, that was a much better attack when you have the proper operators. Not every garage door requires being opened. For example, Wine Cellar and Chalet. It helps to open it, but it's not vital because Wine Cellar is attackable. However, on this map, as you see, the big difference when you can open it up versus when you can't. I'm glad they were able to make the adjustments to get the garage door open despite the mute jammers doing some work. We are going to see our first Capitao of this map here coming out for the attack onto console top floor. I'm not sure that's extremely useful on this particular bomb site. There are some utility for it from Windows, for example, or if you want to try and burn someone out of that little closet. But there are other ways to do that. It's not the best way necessarily, but combined with the Blackbeard could work.
Yeah, this definitely would mean that you'd see the Blackbeard and the Capitao standing on that west side wall, which is what usually you'd see with this kind of setup. Now, having the Capitao is very good, especially if you have to face a Mira, because then you can just completely block her off as you try to get onto the site, or at least get a quick peek into the main hallway and get a couple players, maybe one that's hiding in the bathroom down.
One thing they also can do as well is you see that hole in the wall right there, that wall is still being soft on that connector window right there. Blackbeard could even play on that connector window, get some lines of sight towards where someone might try and flee from a Capitao arrow that's fired into that corner. So there are some good ways they could attack this here and take advantage of the defensive setup. They also do have a Habana, even if they wanted to open up some of the walls. Well, looks like they're calling out. That window was a little destroyed. That was the connector window I was talking about. Some of it got damaged a little bit. May have been intentional or not, but it was open, and pinging it out to call it out for your teammates is important. You don't want your teammates getting spawn killed. Seeing that Doc as well again, this top floor. See if he's able to be positioned as well as before.
Panels have already been broken up top by Shockwave. And I'm just trying to check with his Valcams if somebody's trying to go to the balcony. Now, some of the times you'll see the Blackbeard, instead of going for the west wall, going all the way around into the small balcony on the outside. And there you kind of have a good bit of line of sight, especially if you're suspended from the top. Does he leave you a bit vulnerable from a hallway run out, but won't be the case here. Magic just try and set up next to his teammate here.
He has slid up his Claymore as well, so I imagine he's done that to help those runouts we were talking about, possibly on the yellow stairs door, try and stop them from getting killed while repelling. Very important, but We Duties getting a nice kill onto the pulse there means that's the important roamer probably off the board. That's going to make a big difference on speeding this attack up. Now with a minute 45 left, good place to be in. We Duties there. We did see that Claymore that was set up on that door, and he was trying to just make sure that he didn't need it, but looks like we did see quite a few teams recently shooting those Claymores before getting outside and making some vital kills, so you can't 100% count on them.
Yeah, and Shockwave taking control of the yellow stairs. Now, playing the angle game on the yellow stairs can be extremely deadly for attackers, but it is very needed to at least take some sort of, or at least the top side of it, just to avoid runouts as we're talking. The Claymore, as you say, is not a 100% foolproof setup, and you might see different positions. Now, this is a position that I love because opening up the lower part does not really harm you as a defender if you're not playing 100% on the site.
Oh.
Flashback right on, and Nathan will run in. There's still one player to support from the back. He's going to be able to get kill number one. Trying to eyeball the second, and Nathan with a headshot. Deep gets the second kill. Nathan with one more on the joystick, and Patokalipsa. Fantastic round to tie it up 3-3.
Looking like there's a good chance we could see overtime on this map here.
Oh my
as it's
God.
just back and forth.
The
Those taps
reaction
there.
time.
Yeah, that was good. But they definitely could have used the skylight as well. Some good compliments coming out for the nice shot. Always great to see when a team recognizes they were just killed with skill. So now we got the thermite coming out. I think they're thinking.
Even Marcy is
Yeah.
like, you know what? This is a pretty good shot.
Everyone agrees. Nice shot. So where are they going to go? Okay, Garage, good, because Pone bringing out that thermite again. We saw last time a very successful attack on this bomb site. So Pato knowing, okay, well, they can't successfully attack it if they bring that thermite. They're going to have to try it again, make some adjustments, see if they can defend it a little bit better this time, because last time they just got kind of crushed towards the end of there. We'll see. Same attacker lineup as we saw last time, I believe. I think some of this is going to come down to Magic and We Duties doing their thing, as we'll probably see the other ones kind of more anchored. We saw how important, for example, that Mira is, or even the Smoke playing inside that small office towards the end. So those two are probably going to likely stick close to site, as the Smoke is not so useful off-site here. So that leaves it up to We Duties to really kind of delay them as long as possible so that they can't push with full strength once they get that garage door open. Because trying to stop them from opening that garage door is generally pretty futile.
I think the important part here for Patokalipsa on the defense is, one, don't let the Twitch drone take down your mirror walls. That is always the most important part of this sort of defense. And there we go, even have a mirror wall watching into the hallway. So that's a bit of a different one. Usually you see two set up in a different position. That aside though. Second one, if you can take down the Ashe and prevent her from getting into piano room, that can be a huge bonus for the team.
Yeah, it looks like Blackbeard struggling to try and clear out this room against the Valkyrie of Nathan, who's also going to be on roam. Flashbang's only doing so much because he wasn't ready to push off of them, and this is going to be an interesting fight between these two. C4 could come into play, but it is hard to hit that correctly. Thankfully, Shockwave backs off and just is actually now going to waste Nathan's time hanging out up there.
There we go, Red Groove is going to go all the way up as Magic is trying to find me somebody here with the pulse heartbeat sensor. And joystick sitting up in the break room just in case. At least maybe trying to catch one player rotating around. Maybe one of those roamers coming up from the archives. Yeah.
Interesting that they dropped the mute. That kind of worked out a little bit for them last time, realizing it probably won't work a second time and giving themselves some more roam power that they're definitely using this round. And I think that was probably a smart choice, as it's clearly stalling out Room Factory quite a bit here, trying to get this. Again, droning out Nathan, so they know where he's at, but he's got to rotate. And unfortunately, Joystick was on top of that drone to make sure that it was worthwhile. And so Blackbeard not having to counter that. Definitely good play here.
Setting back up that
bomb located by attackers.
So far, it's been fairly fairly slow. Just set up at a minute 20. Yes, you've done the important stuff. You're trying to open up that top side in piano, but Deep will be able to land the shots from below through the main hallway. But remember, that garage door is at least half open. That'll allow some good line of sight in, and maybe the time to push very soon because Habana's already opened up the hatches up top.
Yep. So We Duties, though, is going to be the big problem for them, despite all that, because he's not been taken out. And you see exactly why right there. He did not expect to run out from there because, well, they didn't expect anyone upstairs to come out like that. And they really need to take him out at this point because if they try and take him out too late, there's not enough time to do this, but at least they can pick the diffuser back up.
And that's the diffuser picked up. That is 15 more seconds that have been wasted just to bring it perfectly into the slot of the smoke. He's already used one. Maybe this is the time to go for a push through the hatches as well. You see Shockwave setting up, trying to find an angle on the Mira, still in the cafeteria room. We Duties unfortunately opening fire a bit too fast here, too premature as We Duties rotating all the way around. Yellow stairs, Shockwave moving in, less than 10 seconds remaining. Shepard will take him out, and Red Groove will get the second as the diffuser is gonna get set as we speak. No, remote gas nade has not been used. No, a bit off. Runs in with the SMG-11. Deep will get the headshot, but Red Groove will take one out. Still 1 versus 2, and as good as that SMG-11 is, I'm not sure if he can melt Shockwave as fast as he wants to. There we go. Shockwave takes down Deep, and that puts Room Factory on map and match point.
Definitely a good position to be in. Even if you lose this, you still get a second chance, but if you don't, then you close it out right now, and that is a great place for them to come in strong, but play careful and smart if they don't play too crazy. But they are on defense, so this is... I mean, this is where you want to be in a situation like this, map and match point, because when you're on defense, you can play very careful and use that to burn time on them, and they have to play extra careful because this is the round they could lose, so they have to play slow. So if you could say, for example, they got that Echo drone now, the Yokai to be able to delay them even more, just delay plant as long as possible and stay alive, and you can win this, close it all out, and not have to play anymore. So I think Room Factory are playing this just right for that. I mean, we'll see how the Echo drone gets played and whether or not that actually is a big factor, but having him and the smoke means it's going to be so hard for them to plant, even with that garage door open, as long as they don't all roam. You want to keep, maybe Joystick has been a fantastic roamer. He might go out with Pwn there because he has the cameras and things like that and the flexibility. So those two roam, let the other ones stay hold sight. I think you got this as long as the roamers don't die really, really early.
Yep, it means delay your attackers as long as possible. And by that 30th second, if they want to try and push in, either smoke will stop them or the Echo will completely demolish a push.
Now, of course, if Room Factory don't stop them here, we get overtime, and then sites can be whatever you want to play, and they've got to win 2 more rounds in a row. So it's not great to lose this round, that's for sure, because then that kind of puts you off a little bit on what you have as a very ideal situation right now.
Well, Shockwave set up all the way in the back. Reminder, Echo needs to stay alive for as long as possible. The utility of Echo is so important in this sort of defense, but also an Echo on his own, as good as the MP5SD is not enough to win out. He always needs at least a couple players on his team left alive to support him. He is not the player that'll be soloing the enemy team. Especially if it's like a 2v1 at the end. That's generally a situation where the Echoes lose. Like We Duties here, it looks like he's trying to watch for anyone that could be upstairs. And it's smart to do. They're really concerned with people about upstairs. Maybe they just need to clear it a little bit better here, as Pato seemed really worried about that. And the interesting, I like that though, setting up to stop a rotation. That's a smart choice. If they're getting chaotic like that towards the end, like say they go to rotate down late to help their teammates, many teams do drop down through that hatch to do that. That was a smart Claymore placement. I like that. Hopefully for Patokalipsa, we won't see that exploited by Room Factory. They're going to spot out one here down below.
Wow.
He's taking a bit too long to open things up. And Red Groove finally falling to the floor. That was an extremely awkward engagement between both players. And that'll be the Mira taken out early on.
That was a mistake to try and fight that, because if you lose that fight, that's an important C4 for the delay off the board. They do still have 2 useful operators, though, both the Smoke and the Echo I was talking about, so it's not like the biggest, most critical kill, but that is a good way to start cracking things here for the attackers. And that Echo drone being spotted, that was a huge mistake for Shockwave. I mean, he couldn't have known, but moving that right then was not the right time, and that is the only drone you get. The door is open. Pato with a nice kill right there. This is looking like perfect situation, falling slowly apart as another defender dies.
Patokalipsa in control, and Pwn can just try to rotate through the hatch that we mentioned earlier, where there's a Claymore waiting for him. And that might be the perfect strat, basically, for Patokalipsa, as they're still holding on to yellow stairs. 38 seconds remaining. They need to start the push right here, right now, or we'll turn into one of those previous rounds where it's just an entire cluster at the end. You can't really do too much. Everybody's in one spot, and then the smoke is going to be even more powerful than usual.
Yeah, they also still have some roam power as well because they still have the Valkyrie lighting up on the stairs, and that smoke was well timed. That takes a half his health already, and coming out for a kill here. Oh boy.
There you go, Shepard going in for one more smoke, and Joystick up top. He's going to use all of them here, and unfortunately the Defuser is going to get dropped. What is happening here? Room Factory get 3 kills in a row, and the defenders at Room Factory will win the round and make it 5-3. That just completely fell at the end with only 2 players remaining, and all came down to the Thermite misplay and the smoke throwing the last couple of canisters, able to keep them in hand even though his Echo was dead.
Amazing, and that's why you bring that smoke for sure, just in case, even if you bring that Echo. Amazingly played by Room Factory. We will see them in Montreal. It's going to be very exciting to see Russia and some other countries represented there, because that's what the Invitational is all about. Would have been exciting to see the Polish represented as well. Either way, some great international play here, bringing it, not the usual suspects coming there. This is a team that came up from Challenger League, showing, again, against the pros, taking it all the way to Montreal. We're going to see a lot of lower level teams that we would consider low in Montreal that are going to be, I think, a nice surprise, really mix things up as they've done in the ladder.
All right, well, let's check out